As you mentioned, obviously, I'm sure it was a frustrating year for you. You know, there was a time where you thought you were going to come back, things kind of turned around. Where is kind of your mindset at just right now heading into the off season?
Yeah, really good actually. Gonna get cleared hopefully next week. Been skating a lot the last 3 weeks, training hard, no setbacks. So just looking forward to obviously getting cleared and for contact and having a really good summer of training and revving it up even more than I ever have, and obviously itching for next season to start already, selfishly.
Now that the season's over, can you kind of take us through all of what happened going back to training camp? You know, we were just told it was an upper body injury, and then there was sort of nothing until the announcement that you had your surgery. So can you sort of take us through the process of how kind of things went south for you this year?
Yeah, where do I start? Just, wasn't feeling well, started training camp, and got a couple different MRIs and a couple misdiagnoses, and finally, saw someone and told me that I had a herniated disc in my C6, C7, and that I needed to get surgery right away. So at the time, I, really didn't want to get surgery because it kind of freaked me out a little bit going through the neck, and was being told differently. But obviously went through the process of trying to rehab naturally, and went back to Columbus for a little bit to see some people that I trust and I know, and came back here feeling pretty good. Thought that I could kind of return to play in December when we went on that road trip to Arizona, Vegas, Colorado, Arizona, and then New Jersey, I believe, and just the process of the return to play, and I couldn't get through a practice by myself. So anyway, I felt like I needed to do something. Saw a different Dr. Vaccaro, who's a BC guy, Boston College guy, and one of the Eagles surgeons, and has worked on a lot of professional athletes, and pretty much reassured me that if I don't take care of my atrophy in my left tricep, that I probably wouldn't be able to play again. And so I got surgery 3 days later. I woke up and felt unbelievable. All the pain that I couldn't sleep was gone, and just started the process of rehabbing. And not to get, I don't even know why I'm getting emotional, but just a tough year, and feel good, and I know this is a huge summer for me, and want to be part of the solution. And I'm going to push myself more than ever, and seeing these young guys obviously take a step. Some guys take a huge step forward. Only fuels me to obviously push myself and push the young guys, and I don't think we're as far off as people think, especially if guys are healthy and certain things happen this off season. But yeah, not to get sappy, but yeah, that's been my year. But I feel great. Feel the best I've felt in a long time, and it's nice to be able to shoot the puck the way that I've been able to shoot the puck in the past. And like I said, just looking forward to the start of next season.
What were some of the people or things that helped you get through that long process?
Yeah, I mean, talking to guys that obviously got similar surgery. I talked to Eichel a little bit, obviously Farabee. I did a different procedure than those guys. I did the old school kind of take a hip and stem cells off, or bone and stem cells off my hip, and went through the neck, replaced the disc with that, and they fused my C6, C7. I think those guys got an artificial disc. But just, I read a lot of different books that are mental toughness books, and throughout my whole college career, and kind of going back to what keeps me in a positive mindset. I mean, a lot has happened this year. Obviously, my wife gave birth in January, so you can imagine the roller coaster. I got surgery a week before that. So yeah, it's just talking to other guys around the league that have got different injuries, but it's a process with any injury, right? So I knew I wasn't going to play this season after I got the surgery, so I kind of put my mind and just get better and take the time that I need to get back to myself and feeling good, and I feel pretty good right now.
Cam, you and Coots are two guys who play both ends of special teams. special teams were the issue this year, and obviously one of the big areas of improvement needed going forward. How much do you think that your return and Coots and other players gaining experience too can help that next year?
Yeah, I mean, I take a lot of pride in playing in every situation, right? And especially on the PP, but even more so on the PK. I mean, I score a lot of shorthanded goals just because I trust my instincts and kind of do my own thing out there. But you know, I don't know if people forget. I think it's you know, I'm right behind. I think Sebastian Aho for most shorthanded goals since 2015 or something like that. So. You know, it's and Coots as well. I mean, we play such a huge role in special teams that obviously it allowed other guys to test it out a little bit to see what works and what doesn't. But there's, you know, I think we'll both help to an extreme extent on both ends, power play and PK. And not that we're going to be the solution. I think every guy needs to step up and do a little bit better job on both sides. But I think we'll help a lot more than we hurt.
Cam, we talked to Torts, it was about 3 weeks ago, and he mentioned about the changes that the team has made to the medical department, and he felt that, you know, that was something that needed to be reestablished, that trust needed to be reestablished with the players and the medical team, and that he feels like they've made strides in that regard this year. I guess, how did that impact, you mentioned about misdiagnoses, how did that impact those months leading up to getting the surgery? Was there, you know, maybe a lack of trust in the beginning, and how do you feel like that's improved over the course of the year?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's went through a pretty significant change, and you know, the head athletic trainers and you know, bringing in new guys that I didn't know as well. So you're trying to trust certain people, and I have all of my trust in Tommy and the team that's here now. It obviously took a little bit of time just because like I was going through things that I'd never experienced and listening to this guy, that guy, and people tell me this, someone tell me that. It was just a kind of a gong show, but it definitely has gone straightened out, and it's going to continue to get better. And like I said, I've been rehabbing here since my surgery for the last couple months, and trust them.
Cam, is it in part why it was so tough for you is, did you feel like maybe you weren't going to be able to play again? Like, as you were going through that, did you contemplate that at all?
Honestly, not really. You know, I've been very fortunate and lucky with whatever injury I have. I healed pretty quickly. And so it was just the emotion of, like, not being told what the hell is going on. You know, when I know I'm not feeling good, and that was the crappy part. But, yeah, no, I feel great, and just, you know, like I said, I trust the process of who's here and giving guys rehab, and obviously our team doctors, and so yeah, it just was a crazy year. I'm just looking forward. I'm glad that selfishly that the season's done, so I can focus on, you know, the summer and doing what I need to do to get back to that elite shape and form that I know and everyone knows that I'm capable of doing. And like I said, I haven't had any setbacks at all. And so I feel really good.
Cam, you mentioned about your shorthanded prowess and your ability to score shorthanded goals. I know obviously you didn't play this year, but watching what, you know, Brad Shaw, who you worked with for years, what he was able to do with TK and with Loss in terms of turning them into real shorthanded threats, is that really exciting for you next year to get to play under him again? Yeah. I mean, he kind of changed it up a little bit. I think he went more toward to a diamond this year, where in Columbus, we were more all-out pressure, but when one guy pressures, everyone pressures, so everyone was on the same page. You knew what to expect. Where obviously when you struggle, not that, you know, we obviously struggle a little bit, you have to change it up a little bit, and I think it helped a little bit. But for me, with where I have a lot of successes, and Shazi will be the first one to admit, is he lets me kind of be free reign, where I trust my instincts, and 95% of the time it works, but I'm always moving. You know, I'm always moving, and my partner knows kind of what I'm doing, where I'm always up ice pressure, you know, and then obviously when they get it set up and they're not fully control, I'm always kind of just reading the play and anticipating, because obviously being on the power play as well, you kind of know what the guys are trying to look for in certain plays, and like I said, it works out more so than it doesn't.
Cam, you're the third.
When we spoke to John Tortorella recently, he said that he was
hoping this season for you to be kind of that liaison between him, having been his player in the past, and also the locker room going through him for the first time. You didn't get to be that player, but what role do you envision for yourself next year on this team, even though the team has already gone through a year with Torts?
Yeah, I mean, I was still, there's no secret, Torts and I have a really good relationship. He was my coach for 6 years, and we've talked a lot before he got hired, when he got hired, and just through the process of getting injured and getting surgery and kind of being that soundboard for the players, the coaching staff. And I was that this year as much as I could without obviously being in the locker room 24/7 and just picking each other's brains on players and what's going on with these certain players, and just trying to help out. And he obviously expects a lot out of me, and like I expect a lot out of myself, and just being a leader for the young guys and leading the way in how you practice, and trying to bring guys into the fight that way and practice how you want to play. And it was definitely tough not being a part of it, but he knows what to expect out of me, and I'm looking forward to just being a leader for this group, this organization, and scoring goals and winning games, and getting back to building that culture that Philly knows that we're capable of doing, and getting back to the playoffs, and obviously hopefully one day winning a Stanley Cup.
In talking about John Tortorella, you were obviously very excited when he was brought in at the beginning of the year. You've had a kind of a different perspective of seeing things, off the ice. How do you think he's done in helping to change kind of the culture of this team and the way that this team plays now?
I mean, I think you can see it with our results to an extent of, I shouldn't say results, but it's pretty obvious how hard the guys worked this year. And, for the most part, we weren't out of the games, and every guy to literally the end of regulation fought to the very end. And I mean, that's a great sign. I mean, that's what happened in Columbus, where we went through the process of evaluating players for the first couple of years and seeing who's part of the problem and who's part of the solution, and everyone kind of building toward that one goal and working together as a whole organization, not just the players, but obviously the top-down management, to the coaching staff, to the equipment guys, to the trainers, and just being a tight-knit group of that family, atmosphere. And I think he's done a really solid job in being very honest with each player. And as a player, me personally, I know it's probably not for everyone, but I appreciate that and know where I stand with him. And, it's not always rainbows and butterflies. Him and I have gotten to plenty of FU matches, and I'm sure we're going to get into a lot next year. And I embrace it, and I appreciate the fact that he's trying to look out for the best of his players, even though the players might not think so in certain situations. But he wants the best, and he's going to do whatever it takes to push you to your limits. And
Cam, being close friends with Kevin, I know you're there for him through a lot last year. I guess two things. One, how has he been there for you through your process? And he was just saying he's got the message loud and clear that he probably isn't a part of this process that's getting younger. So how have you kind of been there for him through him realizing that?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I can't control what happens. For all I know, I could get traded this summer. But it's Kevin's. I've known his family for a long, long time, and so we're always going to be there for each other, no matter what, through the good times and the bad times. And it's I'm always going to be a sounding board, just like he was for me during this process of my injury and what he went through last year, and kind of picking him up when he was down, and vice versa this year for me. And he's a good teammate, and he definitely, we sit next to each other in the locker room too, right? So just a good teammate, and who knows what's going to happen. I'm not going to sit here and speculate, but he's a good player.
Cam, you're the third player on the Flyers that has said the rebuild won't take as long as people think. What makes you say that?
I mean, I just think, with two of your better players hurt, hopefully, I mean, obviously a lot has to do with staying healthy. So if Coots and I obviously stay healthy, who knows the changes that are going to be made this year. The young guys that have taken a step forward this year are only going to take another step forward next year to push each other. I just personally don't think that we're that far off on I'm not going to sit here and say winning a Stanley Cup, but being a playoff team. I mean, this year with all the injuries and people out, up until All-Star break, we were only 4 to 6 points out of, and we went on, a couple of 10-game losing streaks or something like that, something crazy, and we're still there. So I think, when you add in a couple of your better leadership guys to hold everyone accountable, and those overtime losses that I think we were 1-12, where you have 2 forwards out there and 1D, guys that obviously are put in situations to score goals and help this team win, and all those tight games that we lost. I mean, I think those could have been wins, and so it was definitely an interesting year, but I think, like I said, I don't think we're too far off.
Thanks, Cam.
Cam, obviously this season probably didn't start off the way you wanted, not making the team out of camp, but how important do you think it was for you to go back down, get those big minutes, and then come back up here?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I obviously wanted to make the team out of camp, and wasn't able to do that, and it's not the end of the world, but I wanted to go down kind of with a chip on my shoulder and play really well, and I felt like I did, and it was probably best case scenario to get called up when I did. 20 games down there, I felt like I said, played really good, did what I needed to do, and playing a lot, playing in all situations helps, and kind of just builds your confidence, and then felt like I came up here and tried to do the same thing. So.
Cam, when we talked to you last season at the end of the year when you were up with the team, they played you on the right side. You were honest. You said you didn't really feel comfortable there. This year, you spent pretty much the whole year on the right side. Now that you've spent the full year in the NHL, basically playing right exclusively, do you feel comfortable there now? Have you kind of gotten past that?
I mean, yes and no. I think I've played more games in the NHL on the right side now than I have on the left. So, I mean, I don't really know what the left side is like anymore sometimes, but I definitely feel more comfortable. I feel like, there's things that I struggle with on the right side still, but from where I was at the beginning of last year to where I am now, I feel like I've come a long way and definitely gotten better over there. Still, have things to grow and work on there, but I definitely feel a little bit more comfortable for sure.
Cam, Ivan Provorov said he reached out to you when you were sent down and just said, hey, don't sweat it, work hard down, you'll be back.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like just to hear from him and get that encouragement?
Yeah, there were a few guys. Obviously Provi is a guy that I look up to and, respect a lot. His game is, probably the best defenseman I've ever played with. So, it means a lot coming from him. And definitely gave me some confidence going down there to try and get back up as soon as I can. And, having a guy like that kind of reach out to you means a lot for sure.
What has it been like working with Bradshaw this year, and what have been some of his biggest messages to you as you try to reach that next level of your game?
Yeah, I think he's a really intelligent coach, a really bright mind that I think really knows the game well, and every day it was something new with him. I think showing you a clip of something that you don't do very well or you do very well. He's really good at kind of understanding your game and what you can bring. I think with him, I'm looking forward to working with him next year a lot and continuing to grow my game. And I feel like I can really take my game to the next level with him. So
When we've talked to Torts about you over the last maybe month, 2 months or so, the thing he keeps saying is that he has to stay on you to be more aggressive, both offensively and defensively. Where do you feel like you're at with that element of your game in terms of keeping that aggressive mentality?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that I try to do every game. Obviously, some games it doesn't work out, and I hear about it. But like he said, he's on me often about it, and it's something that I try to bring every game. Obviously, sometimes it doesn't go my way, or I'll make a mistake or a turnover, and it doesn't end up well. But it's something that I feel like when I'm playing my best, I am really aggressive, and I think he sees that too. So.
Last offseason you spent a lot of time here to prep for hopefully making the team out of camp. Now that you've had a lot of time on this team, I guess what are your plans for the summer, and are you making any changes now that you've had some more time on your job?
I'll be around this summer. I don't think for as long, but I will be here. You know, again, I felt like I came in really good shape. I mean, 195, that was the most I've ever weighed in my life, and you know, Dan and Derek do a great job here, and you know, I think they can really help my game off the ice, and it's something that I definitely need to focus on this summer again, and continue to have a big summer and get ready for next year. So.
You've gotten to know Justin Braun pretty well since you've been here in the organization, since he's been here in Philadelphia. I guess, how emotional was it for you to see him play his final game for last night?
My first ever D partner in the NHL. I'll never forget. Just a great guy. I mean, you can't say enough about him. Just the amount of you know, respect I have for him and what he's done in this league and what he's done here for us. I mean, it's you know, pretty cool to see, and I'm just lucky to be able to say I played with him. So.
Carter, obviously, I'm sure this wasn't the season that any of you guys wanted to have, but how much can you guys hang your hats on how resilient this team and how hard you guys were to play against?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there was we had a few games where we were off, but I thought for most nights this year we competed and we were in a lot of games. A lot of I mean, we had a lot of overtime games this year, and maybe not the best record in overtime, but a couple big overtime wins to finish the year off strong. And but no, I thought our group was very resilient and just competed night in and night out, even when we were out of the race.
How important was it for you personally to come back at the end of the year healthy, finish the year, and get a win in the final game?
Yeah, I mean, definitely wanted to come back and just was making sure I was feeling 100% before I came back. And I mean, the last 2 years previous, we didn't finish the year off healthy, so I really wanted to come back and push through and battle back to finish off the year.
Carter, you obviously you had the strong first full year in 2019, 2020. The next year didn't go at all the way you wanted it to. Last year, you were satisfied up until the end when you felt like you tailed off. What's your evaluation of this season, your self-evaluation of this season?
I mean, as a team, obviously we're not where we want to be right now on the outside looking in, but I mean, I can always be better. And that's this summer I got some things to work on and tidy up and get stronger and faster and be ready for next year and for a push to be hopefully still playing at this time. But I think we've also made a lot of strides this year as a team and with a lot of the young guys we have here coming up.
You mentioned about obviously wanting to still be playing this time of year next year. That said, the organization has been pretty open over the last couple of months about transitioning to a rebuild. You're basically in the prime of your career right now. What's your openness to kind of waiting out a rebuild to get to the point where you're playing playoff games if it's going to take a few years?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still only 24, so but I want to win as well, and I love playing for the city. I love playing for this organization. I'm very, very grateful for everything they've given me and the opportunity that I've had here. But I think that with the young guys we have coming up and the promise they started to show towards the second half of the season, I think it looks bright. Our young core guys, and I think Danny is going to be the guy to turn things around and get the ship going the right way.
Yeah, what gives you confidence in Danny? Obviously, there's some inexperience. He's only 45, but everyone just raves about his hockey mind. What do you see in Danny?
Yeah, I mean, just talking with him, even before he was in this position now as our general manager, he's a hell of a player, had a hell of an NHL career, and just a smart hockey man. The way he carries himself around the team and tries to be involved with the guys and talk to all the guys on a personal level. I think we really appreciate that. and he's going to be a good fit for us.
You mentioned that you felt like you saw a lot of growth from some of the young players in front of you. I guess how encouraging is that to you, even though you're not necessarily playing with them when you're back there and you see them take over games and things like that? How encouraging is that to you in that?
Yeah, I think it looks very promising. I think Tip made huge strides this year. I mean, started to see glimpses of the player that he's going to become. Or, I mean, he had a hell of a year this year, and he's only going to get better. So he's a strong, powerful forward and with a lot of skill. And so it's very exciting to see his growth and development. And Frosty this year, so much skill. And I mean, you started to really see it. He was playing with a lot of confidence this last stretch and made some pretty silky moves on the ice, and it's fun to watch. So, and then even Tyson coming up and having a cup of coffee, but playing really well when he was here. Igor played really solid when he was here for a couple of games. Some of the young guys, Cam had a good year here. We got a lot of young guys coming up here in our organization that are going to be a huge part of this future.
Carter, changing gears for a second. We talked to you a little bit about this at the start of the year with regards to the Hockey Canada situation. I know in recent weeks it was revealed that Team Canada isn't going to be allowing any of the players involved to go to World Championships. I guess, is there anything you can comment or are willing to comment on that situation as it stands right now?
I can't talk about it right now. I wish I could, but not till it's over.
You're one of only 4 goaltenders to win the Team MVP award, and both the coach and several players said that you were the best player this year, not only on the ice, but you were also a leader in the locker room. Are you more of a vocal presence there now? Do you start to embrace that role a little bit?
I mean, I'm not maybe the loudest guy, but I try to lead more kind of with my work ethic and work habits on the ice and off the ice. But I think now that I've been here for 5 seasons, that I'm not afraid to maybe say a few things if that need to be said. But I think we got some guys in here that have taken strides in that leadership department. I mean, I think Lotz has been a huge leader for this group this year. Obviously missing some veteran guys out of the lineup all year with Ryan and with Coots and Cam. I think Lotz has been a huge leader for this team this year.
As a guy who played in front of you for 4 years, and how nice was it to see Bronner get the level of respect and attention you got yesterday?
It was so cool to have see his parents come down and read the lineup, how emotional they were, and then to Justin's dad on the bench in the 3rd period. That was really cool, and kudos to the coaching staff for letting him come on. And no, I mean, after the game, before the game, it just shows, you just see how much Bronner's invested into the sport and how much he cares about the game, his teammates, his family. I mean, he's been a great teammate to me and a great friend to all of us. And it's been a pleasure playing alongside him these last 4 years.
Carter, you mentioned.
Tortorella said all season that he doesn't watch goalies or know anything about goalies. So I'm curious, what has that relationship with him been like? If you get like any sort of feedback, or if there's been much change considering your goalie coach stayed the same for last year?
Yeah, I mean, I think Kim handles mostly the day-to-day stuff, and if there's something Torts needs to say, he'll say it. But no, I think we've gotten along great this year. He's been good for our group, and he's gotten the most out of our team this year for sure.
Carter, you mentioned earlier about the young players and the development. One of those young players that definitely impressed was Sam Emerson, who also plays goal. It seems like they see him as a part of the future. I guess, this year you were clearly the number one. Sam, I would assume if he makes the team, I'm not sure what's going to happen with Felix and whatnot, but he'll be pushing for starts probably. I guess, how is that relationship with you and Sam right now, and do you think you guys can make it work if he develops into a really good goalie at the NHL level too?
No, I think competition is healthy. I mean, there's only two goaltenders on a team, so I think there needs to be that good relationship on and off the ice and pushing each other. I mean, with Felix this year, we got along really well. We had a great relationship with Moose in the past, Martin Jones. They've been great. So I think that's really important. I don't know what the future is with Sam and with Felix, but when Sam was here, he played really well. He's a great guy off the ice. We got along well, and Felix as well. Felix is a great goalie. Got a lot of skill, a really good skater, and yeah, I'm not sure where they're going, but either way, they're both good guys.
Ivan, when you sort of look at your season, both individually and for the team, how would you sort of describe how things went this year?
I think overall as a team we took some big steps forward. Obviously, every time we don't make the playoffs, it's hard to call it a successful season. But I think overall the team made the right steps forward and is definitely on the right path.
There were a lot of young players who stepped up for you guys. You got to play a lot with Cam York. It was obviously maybe a difficult start to the season. He gets sent down, but kind of learns, comes back up. What did you see from him throughout the season?
Yeah, I mean, obviously coming into camp, I'm sure he didn't really think that he was going to be sent down, but when he did, I kind of, texted him and told him, hey, don't get discouraged, don't, stay, play your game, get better, and you'll be up here soon. And that's what happened. And when he got called up, I think he was playing great and getting better with every game, and you can definitely see that he can be playing in this league full time, from this point moving forward.
Ivan, we talked about this, and when your names come up, he's always said how much he respects your approach, your hard-nosed play. He said that you guys have butted heads a little bit in the season. I guess with the season over, where do you see your relationship with him at?
I mean, I'm still the player, he's still the coach, and obviously there's things you're not going to agree upon, and but if both people put an effort to come to a solution, I think you can, and that's how kind of our year went, and we're gonna continue to keep getting on the same page, and obviously there's things that come up that we probably not gonna agree on, but like I said, his job was to coach the best way that he can, and my job is to play the best way that I can, and yeah.
You've gotten to work closely with Brad Shaw throughout the year. What did you learn from him as he helped you try to take the next step in your game?
Yeah, he's been great. I mean, with Shawzy, we kind of from the first couple of days of camp, or even a little bit beforehand, kind of got to know each other, and I think it was pretty, open relationship in the sense of like the input and what we were thinking, whether it came to PK or the D zone face-offs or anything like that. So just to have that was I thought it was really good, to be able to speak your mind and see if you can come up to a solution as a collective unit.
In terms of special teams this year, how much do you think not having Coots or having Cam all year kind of affected you guys?
Yeah, those are big players with a ton of experience and ability to help your team. So obviously it's hard to replace those, but it kind of gave I would say younger guys opportunity to show what they can do and learn.
Rasmus was saying that he feels like he had two different seasons. The first half he didn't do anything right, and then the second half was a lot better. Having played with him, I guess, what were the changes you saw in him, and I guess how much of a launching point can this be for him?
Yeah, I think he missed the first 5-6 games with the groin injury. So it's when you have that, sometimes it takes you a little bit of time to get going, and when you're a little behind, I feel like it's almost things stand out more. I think once he got back on track and found his game, obviously everybody knows, he's a big guy that can skate, that can, hit and contribute that way, and also has offensive abilities to help your team. So I think, in the second part of his season, I think that's the risk that, everybody is used to seeing. So,
Ivan, with the last couple months of the year, the organization has kind of pivoted towards this idea of a rebuild. I guess, with where you're at in your career, with your age and where you are as a veteran, are you open to being part of a rebuild?
I mean, that's definitely not exactly what you want to hear, because I feel like, I came into a rebuild. We had one good year. The bubble year, that was, also kind of paused. We were going into the pause on the 9-game winning streak, or it was just snapped, I think. And then after that, things went sideways, and we tried to quick fix that didn't work. So, so I mean, I won't say it's the most positive news you can hear, but there's a bright future here, and there's a lot of great players that can, keep growing. And obviously, it depends on how quick everybody gets better and how quickly the team game gets, better. I think that's what determines the length of the rebuild, I guess.
And kind of speaking to the rebuild, it seems like a common theme from some of the guys today has been it may not necessarily take as long as everyone may think. With some of the young guys stepping up, you guys getting the guys like Atkinson and Couturier back, you can hold that belief too that maybe you guys can turn this around a little bit quicker than it may seem.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell because as a team you're trying to get better, individually trying to get better, but the other teams are doing the same thing. So it's hard to tell how fast it's going to take, but I think everybody's here is going to try to do their best to get this rolling and see what happens.
Have you had the chance to talk to Danny Berger and just where the team stands and how long he thinks this can take?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, he was pretty open about it, that it is a kind of a rebuild stage. We did talk about it, but there was no real set, years or how long it's going to take. But all it was said, there was going to, they were going to do it the proper way, and I believe he will.
James, I know everybody assumes that you probably won't be here next year, but everybody also assumed you'd be traded. In your mind, have you had talks with the Flyers? Like, is there any chance that you'll be back here next year, or have they said that they're not interested? Or
Yeah, we haven't really had talks about that. I'm obviously, like probably everyone else, looking at the situation. I'm assuming there's a direction they're going to go as far as being a younger team, and still a team that's kind of transitioning to be as young as they can. So that's just kind of the way I'm assuming that things will go. I haven't had like official things one way or the other, but yeah, that's just assuming that's what's going to happen.
If that does happen, what is your favorite memory from here? I know, tough question to just throw at you.
Wow. Yeah, a lot of great memories. I think definitely some early ones I remember. Like, you could look at the cup run. That was a pretty special time. We were so close. And then just especially early on, I think just a lot of how I was treated by some of the older players was pretty cool. I remember just being here for some of the summers, training before the year, and especially right before my rookie year, where guys like, I remember Jeff Carter would take me out for dinner all the time, and to baseball games and stuff like that. And then like guys like Prongs and Danny B were really great with me, and Scotty Hartnell. The list goes on and on. So obviously on the ice, that cup run that we had was great, but off the ice, a lot of great memories, especially early on. And then again, there's been, I feel like, lots of great groups of guys that I've been able to play with over my time here. So those definitely stand out, just because when you're younger and you're kind of impressionable, I think it really sets the stage for you for the rest of your career when you're around good people and good players, and yeah, so I think that looking back, I think that definitely helped set me up on a stage to know what it takes to try to be a productive, successful player.
James, after
when you
the
came back from the injury in December, towards put you in the line with Tip and with Frosty for it's about 5 weeks in there, and both of those guys credited your communication with them and your influence on them as one of the reasons why they took off this season. Where did you see Owen and Morgan grow this season?
Yeah, I think for both those guys, like obviously they've got the pedigree there. I mean, they're both first-round picks, huge talents. I think they really got a chance as far as opportunity-wise to play a little bit more and have that opportunity to get a little more leash, I guess, where you get thrown back out there a little bit more. And I think they just took it and ran with it. I mean, they were fun. We had a lot of success playing together, I think, as a line, especially during that stretch that you mentioned. But yeah, it was fun to play with those guys and to see kind of the growth in their game and things like that. So yeah, definitely gonna be fun to watch those guys going forward to see what they can do.
James, after the trade deadline, we talked to Torts a few times, and he said he felt bad that you didn't get a chance to to go to another team and chase down a cup. I guess looking back, what were your emotions after the deadline? Were you disappointed that you weren't able to be moved?
You know what? Yeah, like I'm obviously extremely proud to be a Flyer, play for the Flyers for as many games as I have, as many years as I have. That being said, yeah, that was probably one of the more disappointing things that I've gone through, just for a whole host of different reasons. But yeah, definitely disappointed, I guess, that I wasn't able to get that opportunity.
I guess kind of as a follow-up to that, after the deadline, Chuck was pretty open about the process and what had happened. I guess did that hurt? Kind of him being as open about being able to trade you.
As far sorry, so what's
just in terms of saying that teams didn't have interest and things like that. Usually GMs aren't that open.
Oh, I don't know if I want to dive too much into the weeds on some of those things. I mean, I know there's lots of different ways, I guess, to look at the situation. I don't think it's necessarily as cut and dry as it was made out to be after the fact. So yeah, I don't want to. I'd rather not get too far down that road.
James, the other day you said you feel like you have quite a few more goals left in you. You're a guy that's always prepared off the ice, on the ice. Do you have an expectation for how many more years you want to play and the fit for where you want to go next?
Yeah, I think ultimately for that question, I think I still love the grind of preparing myself and trying to get better and working at your craft and working at your game, and it's fun to come to the rink and things like that. So I think, again, as long as it's still fun, as long as I can still think I can serve a role and find a good fit on a team, like I want to obviously play as long as I can. So kind of just take this is obviously a next stage now for me, going into the summer, going into free agency. So for that, yeah, you have a little bit of that excitement to see what's potentially out there and how that can all work out. So like you mentioned, yeah, I put a lot of time and thought and effort into preparing myself the best way I can, and I think this is the time when you do that over the course of a bunch of years. I think this is the time where it starts to pay off. I think I still feel pretty good on the ice and physically and things like that, and obviously you have the experience and the reps of playing for a long time, so I think that part of your game becomes even more efficient as far as how you play the game and knowing the right places to be and things like that, so you don't have to be skating around like a dog off the leash. But yeah, so yeah, definitely excited for what's next.
You talked the other day about how much it meant to you to get that career goal, in this organization. You've been around a long time, but just this season alone, how much did it mean to you, just along with the goal and just kind of being a mentor to some of those young players, maybe knowing that this was going to be it for you in Philadelphia?
Yeah, I think certainly it was a transitionary year for the organization, but yeah, to be a part of that, and obviously you want to prepare yourself the best way that you can, and approach it like you do. Again, I think you have to have that no matter what the situation is, what things are going on around you. I think you have to have that approach to try to play along. So, yeah, I think I don't know if I answered your question or not, but no, yeah, it's, to play here for as many years as I have, for as many games as I have, definitely take a lot of pride in that, and it's yeah, I always look back on that fondly.
James, when you came back here in 2018, team's coming off a 98-point season. There's a lot of hope at that point of taking those next steps. And when you look at your second tenure here, obviously there was the COVID thing, there was the bubble, all those strange experiences, but also a lot of exciting times in your own personal life too. Do you look at these as you know, they've been positive years for you on the whole?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, coming back here, like you said, I had a lot of pride of being a Flyer the first time, and I think part of the reason why I came back here was ultimately having not a bitter taste, but wanting to really, I was drafted here, wanted to try to be part of a solution going forward to win and things like that. So I came here with the best of intentions and approached it the best way I could as far as trying to be the best player I could on it to help a team win games. And like you mentioned, it was, looking back, lots of different things happened between, if you look at COVID, coaching changes, GM changes, different guys, kind of pillars that have been here coming and going. I added a couple kids to my family, things like that. So definitely a lot to unpack there, but everything happens for a reason, and yeah, just try to enjoy and try to enjoy each part and keep things in perspective, whether good or bad. And I think it just kind of helps you try to have that sort of appreciation for things, especially when things aren't going as well. It definitely makes you appreciate things when they are going a little bit better. So yeah, ultimately I think everything's sort of a learning experience and a chance to grow and things like that. So I think that's kind of the way I try to look at it when things maybe go a little sideways sometimes.
4 or 5 days ago, you dropped the gloves and stood up for Scott Lawton. How much did playing with Scott Lawton mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be a lifelong friend and one of my closest friends. I still remember before free agency, actually, I was up, didn't know him at all then, but I was up there with Connor Brown and a few of their other buddies playing on a softball team with them right before free agency starts, and we were just chatting with them a little bit, just about what it's like with the Flyers and things like that at that point since I had left. But yeah, definitely I've gotten really close to them, and it's been a lot of fun playing with him. And like I said, we'll have a lifelong friendship, and had a lot of good times over these last 5 years.
Go ahead. Joel, how eager are you for just a normal summer?
Yeah, it'd be nice. Plan on spending most of it probably around here. So, just get in the gym with Dan and Derek, and try and get my strength back and stuff like that. I think, just being able to skate more in the summer too, I think will help. And yeah, just go from there. I trust the guys downstairs, and we had a pretty good thing going before I got hurt. So, just stick to that.
So just to clarify, you're planning to basically spend the whole summer here working at the facilities?
I wouldn't say the whole summer. I'll probably go home for a month, maybe a little bit more. But I would say by the 4th of July I'll be here.
I know you were cleared to play, but how close to your 100% were you this season?
Can you repeat that, sorry?
You were cleared to play, obviously, after the neck surgery. You came back. You played, most of this. You played the entire season. But how close to you were 100% of the player you think you can be?
Yeah, I mean, it's never easy when you try to get ready for a season, and probably 4 or 5 weeks I think it was, but I honestly felt really good with my body and things like that. I think probably weight wise I would have liked to probably be a little heavier coming into the season, but you just try to manage it that way. And but yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't think there was at any point once I got cleared where I was skeptical about playing or anything like that.
After the operation, did you feel like you had a number of goals in mind as you came back? Because if you had been completely healthy, it might have been a different story.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I really, put a number on it on exactly, what I wanted to get to. I think for, heading into the season with the new coaching staff and all the, the changing stuff that happened around here, I think I just wanted to, prove to all the new guys that, just how I play and, I can help out offensively and things like that. So, I can't say I came into the season with, a number in my head or anything like that.
You played all 82 games this season. How big of an accomplishment not having the off season to get stronger and instead focusing on the rehab? How big of an accomplishment was that in itself?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty cool. Just personally for me to be able to play a full season. I think prior years, whether it was COVID or whatever was happening, I think last year hurt my shoulder and things like that. It sucks when you're out, and it's not fun. It's not fun missing games. So to play a full season, I think that's a player I want to be known as a guy that's gonna be able to play most of the season, if not all the games. So I definitely feel pretty good about that.
Joe, you guys are expected to get Coots back next year and Atkinson. Do you think a lot more has to be done in the offseason, or do you think those two, will push this team, make this team a lot better?
Yeah, I think both those guys are going to help this team a lot. I read a lot of stuff on Twitter and things like that, and a lot of people are writing us off again already, and I think a lot of people forget Coots won a Selke, before he got hurt, and was one of the top players in the league. Cam's been a 40 goal scorer in this league, and you add both those guys to the offense. I think it helps a lot, and I think it takes pressure off a lot of other guys. So I really don't think we're too far away. I feel like we have a lot of good pieces and good players to build around, and I think it'll be interesting this offseason. Obviously, that's out of the players' control what happens with that, but I feel like we're going in the right direction, and with good off-season training and keeping everyone healthy, I think we're in line for a big season.
Along with those, go ahead.
When talking about you, Torts always says high marks are coming back and that he likes that you fight, but other than that, he's kind of waiting for you to have off-season and evaluate you next year. I guess when talking to you, what type of evaluation has he given you, and how is that relationship evolved?
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of what we were talking about earlier. It's really tough to get ready for a season in a short period of time. So I think that having this summer and just sticking around here, I think I have a lot to prove next season. Obviously this season probably wasn't my best, and I have a lot of areas to improve on. But I think with the off season, just getting stronger, getting a little heavier, I think. I feel like when I play a little heavier, I was the COVID year where I had a really good year, and you just feel really good about your game. You got good legs at all times. So if I can get back to that, I feel like I can really help this team a lot more.
Are those evaluations he gave you, or that you just came?
That's more just from my perspective. I think for him, I think he just the mindset's kind of the same for kind of everybody. I think just playing for your teammates and doing the little things, whether it's blocking shots and doing all that stuff. I think still areas that I need to improve on it for sure. And if I can just keep doing that and try and become as complete of a player as I can, I think it's gonna help him and help the team.
Along with getting some of the veterans back, you had a lot of young guys step up this season. Cates, Tippett, Morgan, all those guys. How much does having them kind of take that next step also help you guys when you kind of want to or think that this rebuild may not take as long as some may say?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just look at just the names that you mentioned there. They, had great seasons, and kind of what I was talking about before with getting Coots and Cam back. I think it's only just going to help those guys elevate their game even more. So, like I said, I don't think we're too far off here, and just biggest thing is keeping everyone healthy, and I think for the young guys that had really good seasons like Frosty and Tip and a couple other guys, I think their confidence is only going to grow, and they're only going to it's only going to help them.
I guess how exciting is it for you to sort of be part of this youth movement? They've been open to the fact that the goal is to get maybe even younger, but you have guys like Tippett and Cates and Frost who are around your age and, you know, are kind of, looks like they're being groomed to sort of be the new core of this team.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, I think the leagues, it's kind of changing. It's, you know, it's getting younger, it's getting faster, and I think, you know, when you have a group of young guys like we do, and, you know, you kind of, you know, you go through this kind of, you know, rebuild or whatever you want to call it, I think in the long run it's really going to help out because, you know, we're all going through it together. I think, you know, whether it takes, you know, whether it's next year, whether it takes a couple of years, I think, you know, you just kind of build the confidence and trust with your teammates, and you know, you play with each other long enough. You know, you look at some of the really good teams in this league, Tampa, Colorado. You know, all those guys have played together for, you know, years and years. So you just get into a rhythm, and you know, and then you just, you know, kind of go from there. But yeah, I just think we got a good crew here and good young core, and I you know, I keep saying it, but I really think getting those guys back, and, you know, it's really going to help the offense and, you know, make us a better team.
Joel, Kevin Hayes admitted that he knows there's probably some uncertainty about his status going into the summer with the Flyers. What has he meant to you, just as a guy that's kind of looked after you and kind of been a friend to you as well?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think there's enough good things I could say about Hazy. He's, you know, he's one of my best friends. You know, I think from the first day I got here as a 19-year-old, he kind of took me under his wing. You know, same with, you know, guys like Scott Lawton, Michael Raffle, and the list kind of goes on. But, you know, Hazy, he's always been so good to me and just, you know, leading me in the right direction when, you know, whatever the case might be. And, you know, I think he's just a terrific pro, and, you know, whatever happens. That's kind of out of the player's control. But, you know, he's been so good to me, and, you know, I really feel loyal to him forever.
Rocky Thompson is known as an assistant coach, a good rapport with players, good communicator, but also can push guys, you know, because they need it. Has that been your experience with Rocky?
Yeah, for sure. You know, I think there's been times where, you know, he's pushed me to be better and you know, really question my game and things like that. And you know, I think at the end of the day, the coaching staff here just wants to make everyone a better player. And you know, I think you know, in prior years, it's they're a lot more direct with, you know, the approach and what they want from us. So. You know, I think it's been great. I think it's been, you know, it was a good first year, and you know, I think for the future, I think, you know, you just kind of build on that, and you know, listen to them, and, you know, just try and become a better player each day, and, you know, just do what they ask.
Joel, Rocky said earlier this week that in the past you've had the opportunity to play with some older, more experienced players who were catalysts of creating offense themselves, and you kind of got to piggyback on that. This year, he's seen you have more of an opportunity to be the catalyst, a driver of offense yourself, and especially more recently, he's seen you take on that role more. I guess what has clicked for you toward the end of this season to be more of that catalyst?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it's really just you know, having confidence. I think you know, I think for me, it's making, you know, whether it's my first shift or first couple shifts, just making, you know, a couple good passes and just build on that. And you know, I think near the end of the year, obviously playing with Frosty, Tip, TK a little bit too. It's just, you know, they're such good players, and I feel like right at the end of the year, I feel like, you know, the chemistry was kind of coming together. We were making a lot of plays. So, you know, you just try and build off that. I think, you know, you kind of go through stretches where, you know, once you get going, you feel really good, and you feel the chemistry, and, you know, you just try and build off that, I think.
Thanks, Joel.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Look at your season just as a whole, how do you sort of classify it?
Yeah, I mean, ups and downs for sure. It's weird. I had almost a career year, and I was an all-star. Never really felt like that throughout the whole season, to be honest. But yeah, like I said, ups and downs. Fun year with these guys. Players on this team work extremely hard, and they love this city and they love this team, and it was a lot of fun.
Kevin, John Tortorella has been honest about the team wanting to get younger, and it's going to take time here. You're going to be 31, I think, next month, and you had pretty much a career year. Has anything come to your mind about maybe like you feel like you would be better suited with a contender, or how much do you want to maybe still stay here?
I think you guys know how much I love it here. I signed here 7 years. Absolutely love this organization. I thought Chuck was great. I loved AV. I mean, I know they've both caught a lot of flack here from fans and media, but yeah, I mean, Danny B's great. And the city's awesome. It's a sports town. Like you said, I'm turning 31. I picked up the message that was sent months ago. I'm okay with it. It's their decision. I don't want to say I'm suited for a contender because I think I'm suited for anyone, to be honest. But yeah, we'll see how that unfolds. Their decisions have probably already been made. We don't know them yet. I'm sure I'll find out around the draft.
Obviously, with all the uncertainty that kind of surrounds your future here, you talked about how much you've enjoyed getting to be in the city. The fans kind of welcomed you right away. What has the fan base meant to you in this city?
Yeah, this fan base is one of the best in all of sports. I came here not knowing much about Philadelphia as a city. I lived on the East Coast my whole life, but I'd never really been to Philly before, and it's been amazing. I love where I live. I love the food here. I love the people here. You guys have been pretty good. As a professional athlete, you want to play for a city that kind of lives and dies by sports. And I mean, the Eagles are in the Super Bowl, the Phillies are in the World Series, the Union, whatever their championship is, and the Sixers are good every year. It's my first couple of years here, we were great, and it was a lot of fun. The last couple of years have been a little bit of struggle, and it's been just as much fun. So I think a lot of that has to do with the fans in the city, and I absolutely love my time here.
Kevin, you mentioned about the fact that your first year went really well. Obviously, that things have went down. As someone who's lived it, why do you think things kind of fell apart as quickly as they did after that great first year?
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to blame it on injuries. You can argue that this year fell apart. I can argue that it was a good year. I was an all-star early in the year, and then I don't know. I don't think I was given the same opportunity late in the year as I was early on, playing with certain players and stuff. But it is what it is. My second year, I tried to battle through an injury, and that kind of my only regret here was I wish I figured that out earlier than I really did, and then that trickled into my third year, and then yeah, I mean, you can argue either way if I had a good year or a bad year this year.
I to be clear, I was more talking about the team, not you.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about me.
No.
Well, you got your answer about me. I don't know. It's crazy because it's sad. You see the teams that you have, and on paper you're supposed to be really good, and you get excited for certain trades that happen in the summer, and you're like, that's going to help our team, and it never just came together. First year we were great, like I said. We were on I think an 11-game win streak before COVID hit. We lost to the Bruins, and then we were the 1 seed in playoffs, and then since then it's just kind of all fell apart. But I don't know what the exact reason is. I mean, I'm sure you guys can blame Chuck and AV, but I don't think that's the situation. They don't play the games. We do, and I don't think they deserve the bad publicity as much as they get. But yeah, I mean, it's tough to pinpoint it, but nothing really seemed to come together. Key injuries. I mean, you look at this year, you got Coots and Cam. You can argue they're two of our best players. Last year, I was out for a lot of the season. I don't know if you're going to argue that I'm one of the best players, but and then you make a big trade and you get Ryan Ellis, and he's only played 4 games. And on paper, we're a great team, but that's why you play the games, I guess. And
Kevin, you said you can see the message that's being sent. It sounds like you don't expect to be here next year. Am I reading that right or not?
I have no idea. I don't make those decisions.
What do you mean by that? You see the message being sent?
It looks like they're
younger. Is that what you're saying?
Looks like younger guys are playing. I don't know if they want a guy that's making the money that I'm making playing 9-10 minutes a night. So I don't make those decisions. They do, and I'm sure they have to make them pretty quickly. Draft's coming up.
Kevin, you said that you picked up on that message months ago. Regardless of whether or not, I guess that's the reality, how challenging was it for you to continue to show up and be the best version of yourself?
Yeah, I just focused on being the best teammate. That's what I've been trying to do. My brother taught me that, and it's something that I wear on my sleeve is making sure that everyone in that room feels comfortable every night and can be in the best headspace that they should be in. And yeah, I mean, it's tough when you're getting 22 minutes a night and leading the team in points, and then you wake up, you get back from All-Star break, and you're playing 8 minutes a night and playing with different players. But like I said, it is what it is. They need to go younger here if they want to win, and that's how you win in this league. You got to rebuild, and that's what they're in now. And as much as I would love to stay and help it out, I have no idea if that's going to be the case.
You told us that one of your goals at the end of the day is you hope that you made every player around you the best player they can be, despite you feeling like your own season was up and down. I guess how personally gratifying was it to see some of these young guys really find their stride?
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, it's weird. You go from being a relied upon player to not really relied on, but you get to watch some of your closest buddies who are young. I've been in that situation where I was young, not playing a lot, and then all of a sudden I'm leading the team in minutes, and I was 25 years old. It was a blast, and it's awesome to see those guys do that. I got to know a lot of those young guys a lot more this year. KT, Tip, they were both pretty new last year. KT came at the end of the year. Tip got traded, and this year I kind of focused on trying to help them out as much as I could, and I'm not saying my help led to their season at all, I promise you that, but it is awesome to kind of see them really come out of their shell at the end of the season and kind of dominate, which is what they did.
In addition to your role and your minutes changing the season long, your position changed for a lot of the year. They moved you to wing. Did that affect you and your game at all?
Not really. I mean, if you're playing the right minutes, you don't care where you play. Early, I think I played 10 games at center, I think. I got signed here as a center. Torch doesn't see it like that, but yeah, I don't mind playing the wing, honestly. I just enjoy playing, like being out there with my teammates. But yeah, I mean, that was just another thing I accepted early on in the year.
Kevin,
You talked about how this might be, you don't know where things are going to be going. If that ends up being the case, has there been a moment of the Philadelphia Fire that has stood out to you that you can look back on and, a key moment?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of fun moments here, honestly. The one that I'll always kind of the two that I'll always fall back on is G's 1000th game. That was a lot of fun, being there for that. I mean, I got to play with Jans, which was amazing. But I think the best moment, was in the bubble when Oscar came back and at that practice, when AV told everyone he was playing. It was a very cool moment that I'll remember probably for my whole career.
Kevin, you talked about the ups and downs of this season, but one thing that was constant for you was your health. How much trust did you regain in your body this season?
Yeah, that was huge. That was early on, honestly. Playing last year really helped that. I wasn't really nervous at all coming into the season, where I was nervous last year playing those final games. But yeah, I honestly forgot about my injuries, to be honest, which is huge. There's some days where you get twisted and turned on the ice that you're not supposed to, where your groin comes up. But I think even if I didn't have those surgeries or those injuries, that would be the case. So yeah, I mean, I played 81 games, not 82. I missed one during the season, but so yeah, I mean, I was about as healthy as I could be.
Thanks, Gary.
Yeah. See you guys. Thank you.
When you actually ended up leading the team in scoring over the last 58 games of the season, do you feel that it's something you can obviously continue?
I mean, yeah, we'd have to see. I'd like to think so. I think probably the big thing for me was
once I started to feel a little more confident and started to get some points, I think it was more going into games almost expecting to get a point rather than just go out there and maybe play well. And I think just kept building confidence in the second half, and I guess that kind of led to production. But I think aside from production, I felt that I played a much stronger overall game.
You had a good off-season in terms of conditioning. I remember you came to camp, I guess, about 190. How did that hold up over the season? Is there anything you want to tweak this off-season?
Yeah, actually, all the other years that I've played, I would end up losing weight throughout training camp, and then just going through the season, it's kind of hard to keep it on. But throughout the whole year, I kind of kept my weight, so I was pretty happy with that, and I give credit to our strength guys. They helped me out a lot, and I'm not really sure about any tweaks yet. I think probably address that by the time I go back home and start training again. But I think if I do a lot of the same things that I did last summer, I'll be in a good spot and hopefully keep improving physically.
When we talked to you recently, you mentioned the biggest thing for you was just trying to prove to the organization that you want to be a part of this future. You think that stretch down towards the end where you were getting the points, you were feeling more confident in yourself, kind of went a long way in that?
I think it could help for sure. Yeah, I think I'd still like to be a little more consistent. I think I felt like sometimes I'd play really well for 2 games and then maybe not contribute as much for another game or two. So it is a long season. I don't think you're going to be your best for 82 games, but I think just finding more consistency. But just in general, I think for me personally, compared to the first half of the year, I think I showed a lot more of what I can do the second half, and hopefully that helps me going forward.
Kind of as a follow-up to that, you were open with the fact that for long stretches of time, John Tortorella wanted more from you, maybe made it clear to us that he wasn't necessarily sold on you. Did you get the sense as the year came to a close that he was becoming more sold on you as a player and your place in the organization?
I don't know I'm not sure if it was that was expressed to me directly, but I think I started to play more and get more opportunities. So if I'm looking at it that way, maybe, but I think he said it all along. He's still always evaluating, and I think every day when you come to the rink, whether it's practice or a game, you're trying to prove yourself, and that was kind of my mentality the whole year. Is right to the end, I was trying to prove myself and show what I can do, and I don't know if I talked to him as much kind of later in the year, so I'm not exactly sure where he stands in terms of me, but like I said before, I think just personally I was a lot happier with my second half than my first half, for sure.
In a situation where the coach isn't necessarily giving you his evaluations or having constant communication with you, were there some guys maybe in the locker room who help direct you, give you confidence, and help you figure out your game?
I think there was a ton of guys. I can't say enough things about my teammates in terms of helping me and giving me confidence. Whether it was some of the younger guys that I'm closer with, or some of the older guys like Lottie and TK and those kind of guys. I think they always kind of believed in me and pushed me to be better. Maybe even when I didn't think that maybe I wasn't sure if I had it in me at some points. And like I said, I give a lot of credit to those guys. I think my teammates have been unbelievable with me, and I can't say enough good things about them.
Morgan, did you meet today with Danny Briere and Torts today, or?
I haven't yet, no.
Okay. You will later on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Morgan, you went through that stretch, I guess it was the end of October, part of November. You're playing only about 10 minutes a night. And there was also that time when you were scratched in Toronto. Was getting through that stretch, that's something that ultimately made you stronger as a player?
I would like to think so. Yeah, I think that first little bit was kind of tough for me. I kind
kind of didn't feel like I was on towards his good side, and for good reason. I don't think I was playing very well on the ice. So I think just kind of going through that dip and battling through it, and kind of regaining my confidence was definitely big for me. And I think like you were talking about after that stretch, I kind of just tried to focus on not letting myself dip back into that. And there was definitely some motivating things some nights where maybe I wasn't playing as much as I would have liked to, or getting scratched for that game. I think that definitely motivated me. So I think it's good for every player to kind of go through that.
You talked a little bit earlier about just the season proving to the organization that you can be part of the future and be part of this rebuild, but how big was it to just improving to yourself that you can be a consistent NHL player on a nightly basis and kind of building confidence off of that heading into next season?
Well, that's probably the biggest thing for any, in my opinion, for any young player, is kind of proving it to yourself before you prove it to anyone. I think when you prove it to yourself and kind of find that mojo, I think that's when you can start, your game can really start to take off, and maybe that's when you start to, show the coaches and show the organization what you're capable of. So, I think, like I was talking about earlier, early in the season I was, maybe having some doubts with myself, and wasn't feeling too great about my game, and I think just kind of turning it around a little bit did a lot for me, and I felt kind of like a completely different player the second half. So
you just mentioned about turning around the second half. Is there a point you look back on and you say, that game or that week or that road trip, that was the turning point when it started to click for me?
I think if I had a little more time to think about it, maybe, but just played the last game yesterday. It's still all a little bit of a blur right now, so I'm not sure if there's a specific game, but I think we'll go with the halfway mark. That's the easiest way to put it.
How much, Morgan, did you raise the bar for yourself, in terms of proving you can deal with pressure in the biggest year of your life, as you mentioned? How much do you think you raised expectations?
I think, just on a personal level, I'm pretty proud of the way I handled things this year, and still I think I could have been a lot better and could have done a lot of things better. I think I still have a tremendous amount of room for improvement, but I think I did say it was the biggest year of my life, and I think I'm probably going to say that every year that I play in this league. So I just want to keep getting better and improving, and I think I can be a real difference maker going forward.
When we talked to Travis Sanheim just now, he talked a little bit about the game that he got scratched in Calgary. He said afterwards that he kind of just said that he wanted to go back to the rink and make sure he was having fun and had a smile on his face. I think talking to you back in November, you said that you're having fun no matter what. I guess how much has that helped, and who has kind of helped you keep it light, even though it might not always feel so light on the ice?
Yeah, well, we definitely have a couple characters on the team that make it easy to come to the rink and smile. And I think I've said it my whole career. I'm playing my best when I'm having fun and have a smile on my face. And there's obviously times to dial it in, and it's a super intense and high adrenaline game. So you're not always going to be, kind of laughing out there. But I think there's been a lot of guys that keep it light at the rink, and I think that's a big thing for me. Is sometimes maybe when I do put too much pressure on myself, and maybe get mad at myself on the bench or whatever. I think that's something that I still need to work on, because you don't want to show that to your teammates or the coaching staff. And like I was talking about, I think when I'm having fun and not putting so much pressure on myself and keeping things light, I think that's when I play my best. So try and do that more often going forward.
Rocky Thompson was talking, it was early in the season, that one of the keys he felt to you breaking through was using your legs and using your speed. It looked like as the season went along, especially in the second half, you were just doing it much more consistently, and particularly getting in the forecheck and making a play. The goal that Joel scored the other day against Columbus being an example. Get in forecheck, win the battle, make a play. As it goes along in the season, was it more instinctual, or just less thinking about it and more just doing it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, still sometimes when I watch my games back, I know in the moment when I'm on the ice, I feel like I'm moving my feet, and then I watch it, and I'm kind of standing still. So that's always been a point of emphasis for me. I think when I'm moving my feet, I'm playing my best, and in terms of the forecheck, I think I could still do a much better job of that. I don't think I'm ever going to be the most physical guy. I'm not going to be taking guys out. You guys have all seen me play enough to know that. But I think when I'm moving my feet and trying to, a lot of it I think is trying to get to the puck first versus kind of letting them get to it and then trying to take it off them. But yeah, I think I did a better job of that, and going forward, that's still going to be a huge thing for me, is improving on that, and moving your feet as much as you can, but also being in the right position.
In the second half of the season, as you said, organization really pushed you and some other young guys into more important roles, and now they've made a statement to say they're in a rebuild. For you and those other young guys you're close with, how do you look at your role in this and look at that focus of organization moving forward?
I mean, I can't speak for all the young guys, but I think we all believe in each other, and yeah, we were given a lot of opportunity there in the second half, and obviously thankful for that. I think we did earn it, but I think that's the way the organization is going. So helped us, and I think we have a lot of confidence in each other, and we want to kind of turn this around as quick as possible. So I think we'll all have a good summer, get better, and then keep improving next year, and hopefully prove some people wrong.
Okay, thanks, Warren.
All right.
Thanks,
Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
We didn't have a chance to speak with you. What does the Master nomination mean to you?
Oh yeah, what an honor. Yeah, it's pretty special. Obviously, thank you to those who voted for me for that. It means so much to me, and yeah, that's all I can say. What an honor. So.
Does it kind of validate, what you've gone through, going a year away from hockey to now, kind of solidifying your spot as a regular? Does it kind of validate the process?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, it feels good. It feels really good to have that, and just to look back. I think everyone has different journeys, but to look back and kind of see my path and my journey, and ultimately here we are, and to be nominated for this it means so much to me, and yeah, it's grateful for this.
And kind of looking back to that moment, you had talked about you just needed that mental break. It was just time to step away. You got that itch back. You come back to Philadelphia. Did you kind of expect things to go the way they did, especially this season where you have become a pretty relied upon guy, a regular, and just Tortorella's had nothing but good things to say?
Yeah, you know what? That's what you work towards. That's what I was working towards coming back to the game, and I knew I could be a consistent NHLer, and but someone in my circumstances, you need to prove that every day, and to get that opportunity from Chuck a few years ago, and not under necessarily knowing what that looked like, and being in the opening night lineup a few years ago, and then getting those games in, and then ultimately coming this year and playing almost every night. It was great. It felt great to feel good about your game and consistency and that confidence, and so yeah.
I know you didn't get to play last night, but when we asked Justin about some of the guys who he's really proud of in the locker room, you're one of the first people he mentioned. So what did last night mean to you, and what has Justin Brown meant to you?
Yeah, I mean, I did play last night, by the way. I'm just kidding. No, yeah, but I did. Yeah.
Sorry, we didn't get to see you.
No,
last night,
I know. I'm just messing. Yeah, I mean, Bronner's he's such a class guy. He's one of those guys you root for, and he's such a good pro, and such a good locker room guy, and
you know, I was emotional last night, like, 'cause you could just tell, like, what it meant to him to play in that game. And after the game, you know, he's emotional, and rightfully so. What a career he had, and I have so much respect for him. And to be his D partner in the last game too was special. And to have his dad on the bench in the first, I mean, you can't write a better story than that. And you know, props to Torts for pushing that. And I'm sure he had a blast. And it's one of those memories for Just that I'm sure he'll never forget. And you know, to have a send off like that I'm sure was really special. But yeah, I can't say enough good things about Just.
Sorry to focus on Ron when he was on the ice instead of you.
Oh, all good. I'm just messing with you.
Speaking to John Tortorella a week ago, he said that he feels like you have been one of the best defensemen on the team in your role. How have you, I guess, mentally just approached your job, being on the third pairing, but being consistent in that role every single night?
Yeah, I think, you know, just you know, having confidence in what I'm going to bring every night, I think was big for me. And you know what kind of impact I'm going to make and what I'm going to bring. And that's, you know, that compete and you know, kind of, you know, do whatever it takes kind of mentality. And I certainly know my role. I think you know, Torts was you know, gave me my role early on in the year, and I kind of dove into that. And you know, and you know, I think, you know, me and Torts mesh really well. You know, I think a lot of it has to do with the fit and where I was, you know, certain areas I was placed this year where I hadn't been previously, I think. And just, you know, I think Torts guys, you know, he respects guys who work hard and kind of put their head down and you know, do the right things and try to compete every night and, you know, do those little things. So, yeah, obviously that's nice to hear. And but yeah, I think yeah, there's definitely a lot of positives coming out of this year. So
Nick, you guys made some nice strides this year, the whole team defensively, but you still finished in the bottom third of the league in defense. What has to be done to move that up and to improve on that and get at least into the middle third?
Yeah, I think like you said, you know, we improved this year, so that's all we could have done, and is keep improving. So I think, you know, consistently, you know, our consistency in the D zone is important. And, you know, I thought, you know, there were stretches where we were super consistent this year with, you know, our D zone coverage and really buying in. And I think that's all it is this summer. And for next year, is just, you know, doing those little things and continuing to you know, buy into that process of being better defensively, and then ultimately it'll, you know, help you offensively. So
I guess following up on that, looking at it from a more individual standpoint, how do you plan to approach this offseason, you know, with the goal of sustaining, you know, the improvements that you made in this year?
Yeah, I'm not approaching this offseason any differently. You know, I obviously go into the summer, you know, expecting to work extremely hard and, you know, working on the things that, you know, I think I need to work on and improving on the things that I thought I improved on. So, you know, I think, you know, same mindset as I've always had, you know, in my career in the summers, and that's a time to go to work and you know, work on the things that you need to work on and you know, building that confidence and bringing that confidence that you had this year into next. So.
Going back to John Tortorella for a moment, when we talked to him the other day about the Masterton nominee and kind of explained what the definition of that was, immediately he said, that's Nick Seeler right there. What is that, and you talked about it a little bit, that relationship been like between you and Tortorella, just with the opportunity that he's kind of given you this year?
Yeah, like I said before, it's been great. You know, we haven't had, you know, very many conversations, you know, one-on-one, but I have a ton of respect for Torts and what he's brought to this team, and you know, the accountability that he expects from his players and coaching staff and himself, really. So he's a guy that, you know, you need to continually earn respect from. It's not one of those things where you know, you play a few games and you know, all of a sudden you have his respect and trust, and I think that's something that you need to continue to work on, and so that's having that mindset. I think it's been good, and I'll have the same mindset going into next year. So.
You didn't get to play with Cam York a ton this season, but just getting to know him both on the ice and off the ice, how much have you seen him grow this season in particular?
Yeah, I think he made tremendous strides this year, and it's exciting. He's such a good kid, and he's obviously him coming up a little later in the season, and you could just see the confidence in him. And change in his consistency and his ability to skate up the ice and move the puck, and it was fun to see. So it's he was definitely a bright spot and one of those young guys that this team needs. So it's fun to see. He's just one of the many young guys that we have that made big strides this year, and it's exciting for the future.
You're obviously a guy who understands your role, and it's well defined, and you execute it. So to also in the same season score probably the highlight goal of the year. How much fun did you and the guys have at that moment?
Yeah, that was fun. Obviously I wish we would have got the win. It was kind of it was fun, but it wasn't as fun as it could have been, I guess, if we won the game. But that was something I'll remember for a long time. That was I got quite a few texts on that, and that was fun.
Nick, when you first came to the organization, you talked about how this team felt like it was really going to be a good fit for you with your style of play. Over the course of the year, how do you think the fan base really kind of accepted the way you played?
I hope they liked it. But no, I said it multiple times. I think it's just, I had the opportunity of signing where I wanted, and just the style of how the city is, not just the team, and I think it was an easy choice, and I'm really happy of what happened. Obviously, we want more. I think we had some good spurts this year. I think we proved that we never quit in this team, and the city is behind us. That's for sure.
Nick, when you were brought in and when we talked to Torts, he's mentioned that one of the big reasons why he wanted you here was to help foster the sort of culture that he's trying to build. I guess having gone through the whole season, where do you think the team is at in terms of building that winning culture?
Well, I hope we did. I'll say I think we grew a lot, but at the same time, I wasn't here in the past years. But I think we proved that we're a hard team to play against, and everybody's back. I think that's the main thing. Everything about fighting is a thing that I love doing, but I don't think it's just that. I think the maturity of the kids, and my job is just to bring them more confidence of trying to make plays, and we got some guys that chirps a lot too on the bench, so I think it's funny because I'm able to respond to that at the same time, but I want them to feel free of saying what they want and playing the way they have, and if there's something that happens, then I'm there for them. And I think we have a lot of guys that prove that they can do that as well. I think Beezer had a few fights. You got Nick that nobody wants to mess around with him too, and at the beginning of the year you had Macker, and you bring back Lemieux. I think it's you remember back in the days this was a scary team to play against, and we're trying to do that, but at the same time we're trying to be a good hockey team and compete.
There's been a lot of talk about rebuild, and this can take time. Have you been on a team maybe in the past where there weren't expectations and it actually sped up quickly?
Yeah, my first probably 3 years in Buffalo was that. When I got traded from LA to there was when they moved everybody, so it was kind of a restart everything. We're not here to lie either. It's not fun. You want to have success. Last year for me was the first time tasting the playoffs. That's where as soon as you taste it a little bit, it's unbelievable, and especially what you can bring to the city, and especially here. I've watched a lot of hockey, playoffs hockey, and that's where you want to be. But it's not fun. But I think we have the group to turn it around quicker than probably people think. I think you look at the standing, it's not great, obviously, but we had some good spurts, and I think we were young. I think we matured a lot this year at the same time, but that's how hockey is. It's going to be a long summer, but next year everybody starts at 0-0-0.
Speaking of the way the team's kind of grown. You didn't really have an association with a lot of these guys coming in here your first year. From game 1 to game 82, which of the younger forwards do you think maybe, in your mind at least, took the biggest steps? You know, could be a couple of guys, or just young players in general.
I don't even think it's just a couple. You can name how many career highs guys had, and like obviously young kids that are playing their first year. You got Casey that had unbelievable season, and he was put in situations that even older guys don't even get in there, and he did a great job. You got Tipper, you got Frosty. I think Beezer's still young, so I think everybody just did something. Yorkie came up from, you know, having to go through the sent down at the beginning of the year to proving that he's a guy that can play in this league, and I think everybody brought something. Obviously, everybody's going to say we want to do more. For me personally, did I have a good year? I don't look at stats. I wish I could do more, and but I think we took some steps in the right direction.
You mentioned, obviously, you don't look at the stats, you don't look at goals or points or anything, but this team has always been, for a while, a close-knit group. How much did it mean to you that when you do score and the reaction that the bench does give you?
It's been like that my whole career. I don't know. I think they don't believe in me when I score, but no, it's I said it from probably day one in my career to now that I'd rather probably fight than have a goal, but when you score, it's see the reaction, it's funny, and no, I think I'm a guy that kind of fits in the room and have fun with everybody, and you know, interact with everybody all year, and but it is fun to see those guys laugh.
You said you guys have some guys that like to chirp. Is there any guy that maybe talks a little more than you thought he would?
Well, obviously I was new here, but I didn't know that Lotz had some unbelievable comments, and no, he plays with grit and everything. It's funny, but man, sometimes he says things that it's just can't say it, but it's great. It's just great stuff.
Nick, when you look at the way the game is played today, where there's 18 teams and 20% or more on the power play, 23 teams or 19% or more on the power play, and your role is a physical role. As your career has gone along, has it gotten that much more important to walk that discipline line where you're going off and taking somebody with you?
Yeah, this league's a special team league for sure. Even in the playoffs, you'll see. I think who's number 1 on the PP? Edmonton. Like, you don't want to go short. And I think our meetings when we played them was to stay out of the box. And I think last game we played against them, that's what killed us. But no, I'm lucky enough that my whole career, I do have a lot of penalties, but I have maybe less than 5 minors. So I think I know when it's time to hit. I know that kind of late hit, I've never really got a penalty on that. But no, my rule never changed. I think I got into the league and knowing that there's a certain line that you can cross and can. And obviously when I cross it, I want to try to bring somebody with me so we're not short. But no, it is a special team league, and you got to be at the top. I think this year was a struggle for us on both ways, penalty kills and power play, and you know, those are things that can save you games.
Thanks, Nick.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Now that you've had, you know, I know it's only been a day since the season ended, but from where you were when you came to training camp to where you are now, how would you assess your game?
Yeah, I think just, you know, building confidence and the experience this year was kind of my goal coming into it. I didn't know, you know, like you said, where I was going to be at the beginning, but you know, to have full opportunity in the NHL and with the opportunities, you know, power play, penalty kill, big minutes, you know, playing center and whatnot. So I just think I wanted to grow and learn from, you know, everything, and whether it was good or bad. I think there was definitely a lot of things to learn, and so I think just the confidence that, you know, I can play in this league, and kind of, you know, wherever I'm slotted or whoever I'm playing against, I'm confident and I know what I can do.
When you have that confidence going into the next season, how much easier does it make it just to not only pick up where you left off, but continue to build and continue to grow?
For sure. Going into the summer, it's super exciting. You know, we kind of saw, I think, spurts of, you know, where we can be, and you know, I think a lot of the younger guys stepped up, so that was definitely cool to see. But it's about taking that next step and you know, keep going forward here for, you know, me personally and the team. So definitely super exciting, and you know, kind of going into the summer, I'll be I'll be looking forward to that and pushing it and really wanting to come in even more ready than I did this past summer and like I said, have a even better start and a better season.
Noah, you obviously weren't just transitioning to being a full-time NHL player and adapting to that, but you were also adapting to basically a new position. I know you played a bit in college, but you're primarily a wing, and I'm sure you were sort of learning on the fly at the NHL level. Where do you feel like you're at right now in terms of being a center, your comfort level, and kind of where your game's at there?
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting. I feel very comfortable there, and yeah, almost like I want to play there now, kind of thing. Who knows? I've been good on the wing, and it just felt like forever since I've been there. So, I don't really want to bounce around, but you kind of see Lawton do that, and some other guys do that. Obviously, I'd do anything to be in this lineup and help this team. But I think if I can just dive into one area, obviously, hopefully Sean's back, so maybe that's another center, but that could help me move to the wing. But yeah, I just kind of think I gained so much from playing center this year, and if it helps the team, I'll play there. But if I have to play wing, I'll maybe take a few games to get back into it. But I've excelled there, and feel comfortable on the walls there. But definitely good to know both and kind of have that experience at both. So definitely, yeah, kind of a little good thing to add, but kind of would like to stay in one place for a little bit, though.
Are you planning to do a lot of work this summer on face-offs? I know it's something that you were focusing on a lot in practices this year.
Yeah, definitely kind of something I need to work on. It might be tough in the summer, but something, yeah, I need to focus on and figure out. See a lot of goals in the past couple of games. I came right off face-offs or whatever, and just kind of the general importance of it. And hopefully, kind of like we were saying, Sean will be back next summer or next year, and he can maybe take some of those big draws, or I can learn from him too. So definitely a point of emphasis for me though coming into next year.
Speaking of Sean, some guys have made the comparison throughout this season, but TK just said that it kind of stuns him how much you remind him of Couturier. I guess, what does that comparison mean to you?
Yeah, when that kind of got thrown around towards the end of the year, it was definitely super cool. Obviously, he's won Selke trophies and scored a lot of goals in this league, and obviously just a great leader for this team and this organization for a long time. I'd love to get a game with him here soon, and I think he'd be a huge addition for this team, and unfortunately didn't get to see it this year, but I'm really, it's kind of another part of what I'm looking forward to next season is seeing him and hopefully Cam and all those guys, and kind of what we can do with those guys, and some fresh faces, and not fresh faces as far as they've been around, but they'll be hungrier and ready to go after taking this whole season off. So definitely something to look forward to, and something that'll push kind of everyone as we get into next year.
This is the first time you've had to deal with that 82 game grind of the pro season. How much did your training last off season help you withstand that this year?
Yeah, I had a really good summer. Kind of training with my brother Jackson, and he's been through the pro year and kind of knew what to expect. So I think we did a good job with it. I think going into this year might tone it back a little bit as far as early on in the summer, just with how long the season got. But I can't veer away from kind of what we did and how prepared we were coming into this camp. We all know how hard this camp was, but to be ready and put forth a good effort and push some of the younger guys or even the older guys in the testing or whatever. I think that was a huge reason for a good start and kind of different things like that. So I think that's a big part of it, and another thing I'll be pushing for is just to have a good camp next year.
No, you're up as an RFA for a new contract this summer. It seems pretty clear based on the conversations we've had with Torts and with Chuck when he was GM, with Danny, that they see you as a big part of the future. I guess, have your camp, your agent, already had conversations about a new contract? Is that something not yet? And do you have a preference on whether you want to go like short term or long term with your next deal?
Yeah, I don't think my agents have really talked about it. Really not too worried about it. Obviously, like you said, I hopefully can be a huge part of this thing moving forward and turning it around. I'm not sure what would be best for me or for the team is long term or short term, but at the end of the day, I'm sure something will be beneficial for both the team and myself, and we can focus on kind of moving forward here as a group. So I think there's like Frosty too. So I think those will be some pieces that hopefully are nice contracts that, for a couple of years here we can play above our contracts. I think that's a big thing in pro sports when you're turning it around. You see some of these teams where, they got guys on smaller contracts that are huge producers, and you always want to be a player like that. So definitely want to, at the end of the day, be a player that plays over their contract, and kind of that'll be the big focal point for turning things around here.
John Tortorella has spoken very highly of you throughout the entire course of the season. Where did your relationship with him start, and how did it evolve as the months went by?
Yeah, it was definitely interesting. Really didn't talk to him for the first half of the year. On the ice, off the ice, it was pretty professional, and I feel like I've heard how that's kind of what you get when you're a rookie here, or with Torts, or with any coach in the league. But I think that's kind of how a lot of those good coaches are. You kind of let with your ice time or different things like that, and as long as you show up and put in the work and are willing to learn, they'll respect that, and give you some time and some rope to learn from mistakes or learn from kind of those experiences. So I thought that was great. Obviously, as my role developed a little bit, he would talk to me a little bit more about playing center, playing against top lines, different things like that. So obviously it was a great relationship. I can't complain about any opportunities or anything I've gotten this year. All the coaches were great about it, and helping me learn, or like I said, giving me those great opportunities. So it's really developed into a great relationship with all the coaches, and like I said, can't complain about anything that they've given me this year.
And kind of going back to when you talk about Sean Bateri and how he's a guy that you can kind of learn from. Obviously, he wasn't out on the ice for most of the season, but were you able to pick his brain a little bit just on kind of what it's like to be in an NHL center, or even a guy like Scott Lawton as well, just learning from them, or they give you any advice throughout the year?
Yeah, kind of like you said, it was definitely nice when Coots got back on the ice, last month or two of the year, and we're working on face-offs with him, or just on the ice in general with him was definitely super cool and good to see. Him kind of working his way back, but I think lots, throughout the year, especially early on when maybe it was in a little over my head with some things. I think he helped me calm me down, or if he was my winger, he was kind of giving me the confidence to he could take a face-off, or he could be low for a little bit, whatever it was. So definitely owe him and TK, some of these older guys, a lot for, maybe helping me, but more just instilling confidence in me, and making me worry about my game, and focus on my game and play my game.
Now, will you go back to Minnesota, or will you go to your brother's playoff games with the Phantoms?
I think I'll go back to Minnesota. Yeah, not too sure where they'll be, so I'll head back next week.
You've taken some face-offs in practice with Sean Victoria. How dominant can he be in the circle, and did you learn anything from him? Yeah, you can see how low and strong he can be. Definitely tried to learn. He was always saying to get lower, and kind of owning the dot and all those things, and definitely you can hear about it, but when you're going against him, you see it and you feel it. So I think that was definitely good to see when when he was low, and just how hard it was, and to try to do that to the opponent when we were playing.
You discussed your role kind of steadily increasing throughout the course of the season, especially as you move to center. When you look back on some of the top players that you got to either face off against or just play against, be out on the ice against, which opponents did you learn from the most as you kind of grow into this new role?
There's definitely a lot of guys where I think a big thing is kind of knowing your opponent, and McDavid, obviously, knowing the speed, you got to be above him. I think you learned a lot from some of the bigger guys, just kind of how strong you had to be, and kind of seeing, like a Rantanen was probably the best player I played against, I would say, where just his size was definitely different than a lot of guys with his skill, but having that size was tough. Barkov's kind of the same way, so it was definitely good to see a lot of those top guys and kind of learn what they're doing. Some of the shooters, like Pasternak and some of those guys, you really can't give them an inch. So it's kind of a tale of different players and their skill sets, and you just got to be smart and kind of realize what kind of player they are and what those type of players don't like to see. Whether it's in McDavid, you want to be above him, be close, try to take away his hands and not let him gain speed, and Pasternak kind of with with that shot, you really got to be close. So different things like that where you're learning, and there's a lot of sneaky guys too where you learn pretty quick after a few shifts kind of their skill sets and kind of what they like to do and kind of how to kind of play against them.
I know maybe this season isn't ending the way anybody wants it to, but from where you were when we got here for training camp to where you are now, your confidence level because of what you accomplished, are you going into the offseason feeling pretty good about yourself and your game?
Yeah, I think so. I think, for me, this year was a big stepping stone on just kind of realizing what kind of player I needed to be to have success, and I think I was able to find that, and obviously with that comes confidence, like you were saying. So obviously going into the off season, it helps to kind of have that confidence and be able to build off that.
At the beginning of the season, camp and start of the season, there was a little feeling out process. You finding your groove, playing for torch, those kind of things, and it obviously clicked as the season went along. So do you feel going forward that you can kind of hit the ground running?
Yeah, I think so. I think anytime, a new coach comes in and you got new guys in the group, there's always that feeling out process and, just understanding what's expected of you and kind of what your role is. So I think, going forward, I think with each year that you kind of have the same group and same coaching staff, that it allows you to kind of, take steps going forward.
And by the end of the year, you were one of the guys who, Torts couldn't say enough good things about your progression, about, you as a player. But, looking back going into the season, I guess, how concerned were you about playing for John Tortorella?
I don't think I was concerned. I work out with guys and have talked to guys in the past that have had torts and they had nothing but great things to say about him. I think he's one of those old school coaches that just goes off of, he wants guys to work hard each and every day. And I think, if you can do that, you're going to put yourself in a good spot. And, I've never been one to kind of come in and, just go through the motions. And, I think, each and every day is a chance to get better. And the harder you work, the more results you're going to get out of it.
And kind of talking about Tortorella and the opportunities that he gave you, how much did getting put in more and more situations, you got more minutes, you saw different situations on the ice, how much as, someone who was kind of looking to show maybe the NHL that he could be a player, how much did that help the confidence?
Yeah, I think, the more situations you get in and the more comfortable you become in those situations helps. I mean, obviously it's with confidence and, I think when you play those kind of big minutes and last minute of periods and games, it goes a long way and you become more comfortable in those situations. And, I think it helps a lot with, just overall confidence and just knowing that, you're trusted at times. And, it for sure goes a long way just as an overall aspect.
Travis Konechny, I think, has had 2 to 3 24-goal seasons, and he admitted that eventually 30 goals became a goal for him, and he hit it this year. Would you circle maybe 30 for next year for yourself?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm not really trying to set any goals the day after the season's done, but I think just knowing I was kind of scratching at the surface there of 30, that obviously it can be a goal, and it's one of those things where I want to improve each and every year, and whether that be 30 goals or something else, it's something that you can kind of look forward to as a next milestone.
What progress do you think you made, particularly in the last month or so of the year, at developing the power side of your game? That was a real emphasis that Torts had for you in terms of what he wanted to see you working on.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where, all year, that's like you said, he's been emphasizing that, and I think once I got more comfortable and used to playing that style of game, is when things took off, and it's one of those things that's I know I have kind of the capabilities to do it, and now that I know that's kind of what I need to do, it's just a matter of being consistent at it.
Is it more of a mentality thing in that regard? Like, you obviously have the physical ability to do it, but is it just in the middle of a shift reminding yourself that I can go in and get that puck, I can win that battle?
Yeah, I think it's all situational. I mean, there's so many different things that happen each and every shift and throughout a game, and there's certain times where you can take it to the net, and there's certain times where that's not the right play maybe, or there's another play to be made. So I think it's all situational, but at the same time, it's one of those things that you can add into your game, and once you know that it's a mindset, then it just becomes, like I said, just a consistent matter.
Besides the coaching staff putting a lot of trust in you, was there something about this group of guys specifically that helped you find yourself or find your game?
Yeah, I think, right from day one when you go through training camp, you become close with guys, and I think we had a great group in there that we wanted to go to work each and every night for each other, and when that's the case, and everyone trusts you in the group, and you're tight, and you build those friendships, and it makes it more enjoyable and feel less like work. But it's definitely one of those things where the tighter group you have, it's easier to go to work, and you want to fight for one another.
It's great to have individual success and growth in your own game, but when you look around and you see your peers like Morgan and Joel have big months to close out the season, how exciting does that make going into this off season and then into next season?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, obviously you love seeing other guys do well and reach those milestones. I mean, TK was sitting at 29 for a while, and it was good for him to hit 30, and Frosty had so many opportunities to hit 20, and Bronner, I still think he should have gotten an assist on that goal last night, but it's always amazing to kind of see and be with those guys when they hit their milestones. And I think the last half of the year when guys got more comfortable and started to take off personal success, it's when you start having more fun kind of as a group, and you just kind of you want to help each other have the most success as possible. So I think it goes a long way with that, and it builds confidence for next year for sure for everyone in the group. Perfect.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, guys.
I know it was maybe a difficult start to the first half of the season, but once the second half came, how would you kind of rate your season?
Yeah, it's kind of almost like two seasons in one. First half was pretty bad, and then probably around after the Christmas break started to get going, and the second half was a lot better, and I played some good hockey.
What was the difference in the second half of the season for you in your game?
I mean, it's pretty easy. I don't think I did a single thing right pretty much in the first part, so just try to get better and work harder, and start with simple things, and then it's kind of a snowball. When either way, if you play bad, it's kind of everything goes wrong, and when everything is going good, and then that's how it was.
It seemed like Tortorella left a lot of the working with the defensemen to Brad Shaw. What was the relationship with him like, and how did it kind of grow as the season went on between you and Brad?
Yeah, I mean, he's good. Working with him daily, talking daily, watching clips, teaching on the ice, off the ice daily.
I know when you signed here for the extended, you mentioned that you really liked working with Travis Sanheim this year. You played with a lot of different people. What was it like getting the experience with everyone else and then ending with him? Have you guys grown since you were last together?
Yeah, I mean, it's good to play with everyone, and we have a lot of good players here. So I really enjoyed playing with every single one. But yeah, I've played a lot with Travis, and really enjoyed it, and just getting to know him more and more every year on and off the ice. That helps a lot.
Torts has been honest, and he said that in the first half of the year he was pretty hard on you. He's also said that during the second half of the year that he's been really happy with the improvements you've made. I guess, what would you say the evolution of your relationship with him has been like from the start of the year to now?
It's pretty simple and clear, and he's honest, and I think the way he is and the way he coaches, he probably gets the most out of me. That's what I appreciate, the honesty, good or bad, and sometimes I need a little push and kick in the ass. So.
As you made adjustments this season, and your defensive game kind of got back in order, is that when you started to gain confidence again to jump up in the play and contribute offensively too?
Yeah, I mean, you gotta find your spots, but obviously when you feel good about your game and your confidence is high, then you can try some things or jump up and then, when things are not going well, then you probably try to keep it as simple as possible and try to keep the puck out of the net.
What areas do you think the team needs to improve on to be a playoff team or a contender?
I feel this year a lot of the young guys took some steps, so I'm very excited to see where they are, where we are at next year, and I think the base is here, and we just gotta get better and keep growing.
You had the chance later on in the season to get back on the power play, and you played there in Buffalo. When you do have that confidence of being able to jump up in the play and everything, how much does adding the power play back to your game help with that as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's nice. Everyone probably wants to play power play, and it was nice to get back out there, and it's fun. I feel I can play in any role on the power play, so yeah, it was good.
Rasmus, when you left Buffalo, you had said that one of the reasons why you wanted a fresh start was because you wanted to win. Obviously, they struggled for years, and then when you resigned, you said you thought that the Flyers would turn it around quick. I guess, does it scare you at all when they throw around terms like rebuild, that you might have put yourself in another situation like Buffalo?
Not really. I don't really think or look or listen to that stuff. I just try to work my ass off, and I believe every single year when we start, then we can make it to the playoffs, and yeah, I'm already excited about next year, and try to make it there.
Similar to what Charlie asked, you said you felt like you were a playoff player, like your game is suited for the playoffs. Has there been a frustration that you still haven't had a shot at the playoffs in the NHL?
I don't think I would use word frustration. Just makes me more hungry, and like in life, I like it whenever something comes easy to you. You gotta work your way there, and eventually, I believe it will come.
Thanks, Rasmus.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Scott, when you look at this season, there's a lot of young guys that came into the lineup. Cam and Sean, they were here. They said the rebuild could be quick. It could be a quick turnaround. When you see what the young guys did and the veterans who could be back, how do you kind of see things going moving forward here?
Yeah, I would agree. I think the step that some of those young guys made this year, and just the feel around the room, I think, was a little bit different from maybe the year past, and the belief within guys and throughout the year. Obviously not where we want to be, but this is the situation we're in, and we have a lot of young guys that have stepped up in bigger roles. I think you saw it in the last 2 months or so. They're getting more opportunity and playing against some top guys and really getting their feet wet, and you always don't get that opportunity as a young guy and to play those big minutes and be in key situations. So I think it can only help down the road. We have a couple young forwards that I think can be very valuable for us going forward. So it's exciting for us and them, and it's going to be a big summer for a lot of those guys.
When you talk about the younger guys, is there any guys specifically that have stood out to you?
I think probably right off the top of my head is Tipper. I think he took a massive step, was dominant in a lot of games, especially when TK was out, and kind of took over that role for us. And Frosty takes a huge step, scores 20 goals or close to, I think, and plays some good hockey for us. And Casey plays out of position, plays center all year, and plays against the top guys, and I thought he did a hell of a job. So there's those three guys that kind of come to mind, and then you have Yorkie on the back end that I thought looked very good again, poised with the puck, and makes plays, and very skilled, and looks like he can run a power play. So you have those pieces come up, and they're not super young. Even Forrester, he comes up and looks really good. So they're not super young, but it's tough to get going in this league, and I think they did, and yeah, time will tell.
Scott, you guys obviously would have wanted for this season to go differently in terms of standings, but this was for you your best statistical year by a lot. You broke 40 points, you had your most goals of your career. I guess, how do you try to balance, having pride in your own individual accomplishments with the disappointment of where the team finished?
Yeah, that's a good question, because to be honest, it really doesn't matter to me. I signed here long term. I want to be playing meaningful hockey when it gets nice outside. I think that's the best time to play. I really hope these young guys can experience playoff hockey in Philly, because I don't think it's like any other. So that's obviously you want to do well for yourself and help the team, and to be given the opportunity on the power play, first time where I've kind of been on the power play all year, and get those looks, and just playing 20 minutes a night, and playing against other teams' top lines, and I got a ton of opportunity to kind of show what I could do. So I'm thankful for that. But yeah, I'm decently happy with my year. Obviously, you want to do more, and think you can bring more to the table. But to be able to be put in those situations and succeed in some of them, it feels good for your game, and all the hard work that you do put in the summer. And I've been around for a little bit of time now, and to get those looks now, it's feels good.
Going off the career year thing, a bunch of other players had careers. I know TK just passed 30, and Frost was at, as you said, 19. How important is that in terms of confidence going into next year, and how have you, just as the guy wearing the letter, try to help foster that confidence in some of these younger guys?
Yeah, and kind of like what I touched on before, I think it's everyone has their own path, and comes up in different ways, but a lot of guys took great steps forward, and like you said, a lot of career years. I thought TK was dominant in most of the games he played in, and something that he can definitely build on. But yeah, you try and keep that confidence going into next year. Sometimes bounces go your way that year, and you have 5 or 10 more points, or 5 or 10 more goals, and sometimes it happens that way. So you try and use that going into the summer, and try and help your game, and maybe do some of the same stuff that you did in previous summers, and add to it. But the confidence, I think, is a big thing, and some people don't believe in it, but I'm a big believer in confidence, and getting those puck touches, and I thought some guys definitely stepped up in the absence of some of our key guys who have been out all year.
Scott, a lot of guys have talked positively about steps that were taken on the penalty kill this year. How do you think that positive attitude might help you guys take a bigger step forward next year?
Yeah, I thought our penalty kill kind of dwindled there near the end of the year, and was losing us hockey games, I guess, and our special teams, our power play wasn't very good this year at all. So special teams are a huge part of this game, and it helps you win hockey games, and you see most of those playoff teams are usually in the top 15 in both categories, and usually top 10 are the elite teams. So that's something that you have to work on, but I think the way Bradshaw teaches the penalty kill and just teaches the game is really good for the young guys, and for myself, he was great on the penalty kill, just the way he went about things. So you see a guy like TK who's never penalty killed in his career, and I thought he flourished, and some guys took some big steps. Risto, I thought, was huge on our penalty kill, and our goalies were great too. So something that we can definitely build on and get better at, but your special teams have to be pretty good to be successful, and it's got to win you hockey games a lot of the time.
Scott, you're obviously a team leader. You're the only guy who wore the A. Torts has talked a lot this year about this year being, for him, figuring out who's part of the solution, who needs to go. I guess, has he involved you at all, or anybody higher up involved you at all in terms of trying to figure out who should be part of this moving forward?
No, I haven't talked to anyone about that so far, but yeah, I guess everyone will have their conversations today, and speak their mind, and how they feel their season went, and what's moving forward. But yeah, I'm not getting any younger, and you obviously want to win in this league. I think that's why you play the game, and I've said it before, I want to be here and be part of this solution and help these young guys out and try and take that next step for this franchise, and I want to be here for it. But yeah, time will tell with Danny. I think he's got to put his fingerprints on this and what he wants to do with this team. So we'll see what happens this summer and closer to the draft and go about it that way.
Scott, as the only guy to wear a letter on your jersey, I was just curious how your relationship evolved with John Tortorella. Like, did he start to seek you out more to get the pulse of the locker room? How did that kind of shake out?
Yeah, to be honest, we didn't have that many conversations. Probably a couple here and there, just about little things throughout the year on the road. Yeah, just little logistical stuff maybe, and then throughout the year just talked about where the group was at and how we were feeling. So it's tough when you get into that last month and you're not playing for anything. You're in the NHL, you're playing for the Flyers. It's you have that pride, but it sucks. It really does to play meaningless games and to have nothing to look forward to. So the last month was definitely long, but something that I hope to grow with me and Torts throughout the summer and have those conversations. But I can't say enough good things about Torts for myself. He gave me the opportunity, gave me great looks, and treated me very fairly and with a ton of respect. So I appreciate that.
When we talked to Van Riemsdyk earlier, he mentioned the relationship between you two and how you're going to be friends for a long time after this. And I think you've spoken about how much his leadership has helped you grow as a leader as well. Just what has it meant to you to play with him over the years, and especially this season, to be a part of his milestone goal a couple games ago? Yeah, that was awesome. My dad actually texted me before the game. He was hoping that I assisted on his 300th goal. So lucky I won the face-off and scored. I was pretty excited for him, but the ultimate pro Reamer is, I think, and I think anyone will say that he probably knows he's not coming back and probably knew that for a little bit. Still cares about the young guys. The team was still trying to find ways to help us win hockey games throughout off the ice and on the ice, and really great human being that yeah, he's a lifelong friend and someone that I'll be friends with for a while. So I can't say enough good things about Reamer and what he brings on a day-to-day basis, and the way he handled himself throughout the situations that he's gone through here the last couple years. So good for him, and can't wait to spend a little bit of time with him here.
Scott, over the course of the season, you basically get to play with everybody, more or less. But there was a 5-week stretch in there, I think middle December to later part of January. There literally wasn't a single lineup change. It was the same lines for 5 straight weeks. Was that stretch of the season good for continuity and getting to, pull things together on the ice as a team?
Yeah, I think so. And anytime you can, I guess, try and build that chemistry throughout, especially for some of those guys like Frosty and Tipper who were playing together and really finding themselves, I guess, and finding their offensive game together. I think it goes a long way, and I think Reamer helped out with that too, touching on that. Just the on the bench things that people don't see so much, I think was huge, and yeah, I think it helps, and it's going to be those young guys, the core, that are going to come up here together and try and build something, and for them to be able to get that experience, kind of like what I touched on before, but those big situations playing against Pasternak and McDavid on a nightly basis, I think can only help you.
Sort of moved into off-season mode. You talked about that last time you were with us. How are you feeling, and how excited are you to get back to training, knowing that there's a really good chance you'll be healthy back here next season?
Yeah, I feel great. I feel like I've pretty much done a full off season of training already and starting again, so I'm already excited for camp, and obviously it's a big summer of training for me. going to work extremely hard to get back to the pace of the game, and yeah, just looking forward to next year.
Sean, you talked about before the decision was made that one of the reasons why you wanted to play at the end of the year was you just felt like it would get you in the right frame of mind for the summer, just knowing you can play, knowing you can make it back. Knowing how important of an offseason this is for you in terms of preparing, I guess, how do you attack the offseason without the benefit of that better frame of mind by playing in a few games?
I think it's just about probably just going to have to skate a little more. I've trained a lot in the last year and a half, and I feel strong again. I feel back 100%. So it's just a matter of getting back to the level of a high NHL player. Yeah, it's going to be on me to just get ready. Obviously, I'm disappointed I couldn't get into a few games and see where I'm at. But I mean, only time will tell if it was benefit or not. So I mean, we'll see next year. But I'm for sure going into this off season motivated and with a lot to prove coming into next year.
Sean, you mentioned how you want to be a part of this rebuild. You want to go through the tough times and not just come back when things are good again. Does the talk of rebuild really provide extra motivation for you?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, rebuild or not, I mean, for me anyways, in the situation I'm in with the 2 back surgeries, it's important to come back strong and show that I can be the player I was before the injury. So obviously we're using the rebuild word, but you know, I think it's on us players to just make sure we come ready and we can maybe speed up the process. That's on us to just develop and grow as a team, and we'll see how it goes next year.
I mean, is there a feeling on your part, obviously you missed all of this year, a lot of last year, that, you know, if you can come back the player you were, that maybe a rebuild isn't necessary in the way that people are thinking about it because you can give this team enough of a boost to get it going quicker?
I don't know if it's I'm not going to be saving this organization coming back. I think it's important to do this rebuild the right way. What I'm saying is if you look at kind of like New York a couple years ago, you know, they send out that letter and, you know, you think it's a big rebuild 3-4 years, and next thing you know, they're in the playoffs the following year or 2 years later. So, and you know, they've been good since. So it's, like I said, things can change quick in the NHL. We've seen it the last 2-3 years. We were supposed to be one of the top end teams, and we went to the bottom of the standings. So it's on us as a team, as players, as organization to, you know, switch it around and get back to where this organization belongs.
Sean, you had a unique perspective in that you got to watch the games this year. Just from watching all the games, are there areas that you think the team needs to grow in? And what are those areas, do you think?
As a team, I mean, we've had a lot of young guys, a lot of, you know, call-ups that got chances. I think if you look individually, I think guys grew, you know, have improved and took a step forward. As a team, I think special teams obviously were a huge part of our success and of our, you know, bad sequences. You know, I think when we were winning a couple games in a row, you could see the power play was clicking, and then once it wasn't, and the PK struggling, then, you know, we're losing a couple in a row. So I think special teams is a big part in today's world, whether it's the players or the way we play. It's something that we definitely gotta get better.
Sean, you mentioned you had a unique perspective of being able to watch. You mentioned the younger guys grow. Were there any that really made a jump where you could say, I want to play with this guy next season, or I really like what he's going to bring to the team next season? Guys that really kind of stood out to you amongst the younger group that got their chance this year?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously Tippett. I think he's a pretty fun player to watch. You know, I haven't seen such a good shot in a while from a young guy, so he's definitely a guy I'd love to maybe get the opportunity to play with eventually. You know, there's a lot of guys that I think improved. Casey's one that, plays a really mature game. I don't know if we'll play together. He's a center as well, so. But, he's really reliable. He does all the little things right. And, he's one of those players that you kind of need to build around successful teams and make runs. He's not flashy or anything, but he does all these little things that make a difference in a winning team.
With regards to Case, you just mentioned him. Do you see a little bit of yourself in him, particularly where you were as a young player?
Yeah, I do, I think. Like I said, he plays a mature game. He's really reliable defensively. And I think he has some undercover, really good offensive skills also. I think if you give him maybe a little more opportunity offensively, power play and stuff, I think he can maybe produce a little more. But he's just one of those guys that you can throw out in any situation, and he'll find a way to succeed. So it's like I said, he's one of those guys that you need to make runs and win.
Sean, you've been under a lot of supervision here by the trainers throughout your rehab. What are your plans for this offseason? Will you continue to train here? Will you go home? What are you going to do?
Yeah, I'll probably go home eventually. I'll be here for a couple weeks. Take a couple weeks off and then start training again. I'm going into this off season really kind of being done with the rehab part and just getting back to game shape, feeling strong on the ice, on and off the ice, and but yeah, I mean, there's probably definitely going to be a little more follow up with me, but like I said, I feel great, and I'm just going into this off season really just working on my game and becoming back to the player I was.
When John Tortorella first, started, he had talked about the Flyers' culture, wanting to make this team harder to play against, more ready to play. Obviously, from your perspective off the ice, how much do you think this team really went into that resiliency of always kind of being in games and always able to make those comebacks?
Yeah, I think we've definitely became a harder team to play against, I think. Maybe we're not seeing the results yet, but if you look at the scores and how tight these games are, even playing against some top-end teams, we're usually in the game till the end. So it's good. We just got to find a way to take it to another level and maybe score a little more goals and be more of a difference, I guess.
Sean, just as a follow-up to Olivia's question, will you change anything, tweak anything in how you approach your summer training? I know you guys are such creatures of habit, but will you either start skating sooner, skate with groups of guys, just to kind of, because you're in a different place because you haven't played, you want to get up to game speed. Will you sort of tweak how you kind of do your usual training?
Yeah, well, I always try to find a way to improve myself each year, every summer. But this year, obviously, like you said, I'll probably be skating a little more earlier in the summer, just to get back to par on the ice. I think that's going to be the biggest thing. Off the ice, I've been working a lot over the last year and a half. So it's really on the ice that I'll have to focus a little more, I think, and work on my skill set and execution and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to it.
You made a point to be around the team as much as you.
Sorry.
Before you left, you guys had a long-time captain in the room, and you wore a letter yourself, and I know Torts said there's not going to be a captain next year. You weren't really in the locker room this year, focusing on yourself. I guess, do you see yourself as trying, when you go back in there, you're going to have to reestablish who you are in the locker room and maybe adjust to a new leadership structure?
Yeah, like I said, I feel I have a lot to prove coming into next year. New coach, a lot of new teammates that got to know over the last year and a half, but a lot of these guys I haven't even played with. So whatever the captain situation is or leadership group is, I'm still going to be the player and the guy I am, and try to lead by example and do the right things all the time. So it doesn't really change much for me.
You made it a point to be around the team as much as you could this year. And the young guys said that they appreciated the fact that they could kind of pick your brain a bit. But the fact that you were around the team, did that help you get through the emotional part of this recovery of having to sit and wait?
Yeah, well, I think the last month or so, being more around definitely helped. I was focused on coming back till probably 2-3 weeks ago. So that was a little bummer when I found out. But after that, it was just kind of just, you know, trying to be a part of the team and being a part of the guys and, you know, help out in any way I could if needed. Yeah, it was just nice being back around in that team environment.
Cam Atkinson's basically in the same boat you were this year. Did you and Cam kind of help, you know, keep each other sane as you're rehabbing and working to get back?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, we were not together on a daily basis, but yeah, it's always nice to have someone. I mean, at times I was by myself, and at times there was a bunch of us. So it's not something you don't want to see everyone in there, but it just helps, definitely mental side of things, being around the guys, and yeah.
Thanks, Sean.
All right.
Thanks, Sean.
You know, I have an entire summer to train and prepare again, and you know, that's my motivation, right? You know, to prove him next year what I'm capable of and what I know I'm capable of. So I think I just use this as, you know, fire and you know, for the summer, and work on my game and work on every aspect I can and come back ready to go.
Do you feel like there was any aspect to your game that you moved forward in this season?
Yeah, I mean, I think this season for me, it was just kind of a teeter-totter, just kind of back and forth. You know, I feel like I'd get some confidence here and then, you know, lose it, get it back and lose it. So I think for me, it's just kind of a mindset to kind of trust the player I am and trust what I do well, and kind of try to build my game from there. I think I kind of started to lose myself as a player, and the foundation that I had is what I do well, and I think moving forward I just need to kind of get back to, you know, the ground roots of, you know, what I think I am as a player and the things I do well. So
Was the year a bit of a whirlwind, Tanner? Like your first time father, you get hurt, and you're trying to prove yourself. Can you maybe just take us through how long of a year it was?
yeah, definitely. I mean, there's definitely a lot of stuff going on, but at the end of the day, I mean, I think I think it's just an adjustment period, right? So it's like you said, first time father, you know, trying to balance everything. So I think it'll be good to kind of have a reset, and then kind of just, you know, go full force, you know, focus on, you know, the future, and yeah, just take it at that approach.
Tanner, you mentioned the injury. Obviously, it kept you out for quite a long time. Was it the kind of injury that even after you came back, it was still bothering you, or were you pretty much good by the end?
Yeah, I mean, you know, when you have injuries, you know, it could still linger on, or, you know, could never feel 100% again. You don't know what it's going to feel like, but, you know, I felt like I was in a good spot, and I felt, you know, good to play, you know. So yeah, I mean, I'm not going to use that as an excuse. But yeah, I've felt as good as I could possibly feel.
Was it nice, at the very least, to get in those few games at the tail end of the year? There was the long period of time where you were scratched, and it wasn't clear if you were going to be able to get back in. So was it nice to at least close out the season, maybe not on a high note in terms of production, but at least having those games?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, listen, anytime you get to play in the NHL, it's an honor and it's a privilege to be able to do it. So, you know, I try to take advantage of the last couple of games we had and just, you know, just work hard. You know, I knew that this season kind of wasn't going for me the way I thought it would, and you know, I feel like offensively kind of wasn't making plays or doing anything that I feel I can do. I don't know if that's, you know, due to confidence or, you know, just being out for a substantial amount of time and trying to get the feeling back. But yeah, you know, just to be out there again and, you know, be out there, you know, like with Bronner for his last game and just be with the guys. Yeah, you're not going to take that for granted.
Is there a concern on your part? Obviously, as you said, you're under contract for another year. You'll be in camp, you know, barring some type of move or whatnot. But Is there a concern that you won't get a fair shake in camp because of the way that John Tortorella maybe feels about your game?
No, I think, I mean, everyone has opinions, but I think if, I come out and I have a good camp and they're evaluating the camp, obviously they're going to evaluate some of last year. That's even more of, why I got to come out next year and, prove to them and the organization that I'm worth keeping and worth having around. So, I think at the end of the day, this season's over. You might look back at it, a couple games or whatever it be, certain stretches. But I think next year's a new year. Just got to be prepared for next year.
Get back to the start of the season. Opening night against the Devils, start out the game, fourth line center. Actually, Torts moved you up in the game. You were playing Frosty's line on the wing, and actually set up a really nice goal and played there the rest of that game. I think you were there for the next game or two before you moved back down again. And then I think the game where you got hurt was actually probably your best game of the season up to that point. So do you feel there were little pockets where you're showing, there are things you can do and contribute in the lineup, and just kind of injury or this or that kind of got in the way?
It's difficult to say, you try to play your best every night, and, some nights you might not be feeling it, some nights, you could have all the excuses, but at the end of the day we get paid to do, entertainment, it's a sport, but I think it was just a tough year, like you said. I was at certain times I felt good, and then something would happen, and then at certain points I felt like I didn't know what kind of player I was, So it just I think goes back to I kind of just gotta clean up my mindset and kind of focus on what I do well and kind of get back to that.
Tanner, you talked about losing yourself as a player at times throughout the season. When you are playing to your identity, what does that look like, and what elements of your identity do you want to show more of going into next season?
Yeah, I think like my offensive ability, I think to like being able to make plays, I think I've done it at times, but at other times it's just non-existent. I don't know if it was just scared to try and make plays or what be it, but I think my defensive game, I think at the end of the year, I think I was just out of shape. I think I was chasing the puck a little bit, and I think defensively, I think I'm a good defensive player. I'm good with my stick, and I'm good positionally, and I know how to read plays. So I think just kind of taking a step back and just taking a breath and kind of reflecting on myself and just realizing the type of player I am.
When we were talking to, I believe it was Morgan earlier, he talked about the camaraderie that, a lot of the young guys had and just wanting to root for each other. How much does that help when, obviously maybe they're not going through the same situation, but just similar situations and trying, to prove yourself to a new coaching staff to the organization? How much does it help to have those guys to bounce off of?
Yeah, definitely. I think, especially throughout this year, like everyone said, it's kind of a evaluation year, guys are getting scratched here and there, guys are, getting benched, guys are in and out of the lineup, so it's just everyone's kind of going through similar things, everyone's being evaluated, and I think, like you said, it's just kind of, it's easier to talk about it, to the guys and stuff and kind of see where guys are at, but yeah, you can lean on guys and stuff, but at the end of the day, I think you kind of got to look at yourself in the mirror and, try to get yourself out of whatever you're dealing with.
Are you willing to go into it all why you think you were healthy scratch for the final 5 games of the year?
No, it's not my decision anyway, so I can't really get into it because I don't know.
Okay. You said you don't know, as in you don't know why you got healthy.
No, I'm sure there's reasons for it, but nothing that either one of us were obviously willing to discuss. But I'll just leave it at that.
But you have had conversations with John Tortorella about, his reasoning and his decision making?
I'm not going to go into that, actually.
Okay, I mean, I'm not asking for what he said. I'm just,
Yeah, we
you guys
talked,
have
but not,
talked. Okay.
not a whole lot.
Okay.
Where do you feel like the relationship is? Obviously, you're going to be away from him for a while, but I mean, do you feel like it's at a point where it can't be salvaged?
No, well, the way I put it, I love being a Flyer. You know, my whole life I've wanted to be a Flyer. Now that I am, so I don't take it for granted at all. It's something that means a lot to me. So I'm not gonna, you know, we're not gonna let any relationship stuff get in the way. He's the coach of the team, so you got to respect that, and I respect what he does. Do I agree with it? What happened in the last 5 games? Absolutely not. I think it's ridiculous that I didn't play the last 5. That's one thing, but he's also the coach of the team. It's not my job to decide that. All I can worry about is being a good teammate, which I think I did. Tried to stay out of the way, and I don't want to be a distraction to anybody. These guys had stuff to play for. There's milestones guys are trying to get to. Guys are trying to play for contracts next year. I don't know how many guys are due up, but all that kind of stuff. So I don't want to be a distraction. That's why I was glad there was no. I know you guys are writing stories and all this, but it was more about, for me, what them guys were doing. I was done. I wasn't playing, so it made no difference at all. And just try to be around, be a good teammate, watch the games. There were some good games, some good stuff happened. Keep watching guys like Tip and all that, and just try to take that approach for what am I going to do for my own. I wasn't playing. It is what it is.
So just to be clear, you do want to come back?
I plan on being back. I want to come back. I have no clue what's going to happen. That's not my decisions. But I'll be training and getting ready to play another season here yet.
Bradshaw kind of took a large hand in how the defense was, kind of what you guys did, the game plan and all that stuff. What was the relationship like with him? And if maybe Torts didn't give you the answers you were hoping for about why you're out, was Brad sort of more the guy who kind of say, hey, nuts and bolts, this is what we need from you, maybe this isn't what we were seeing?
As far as you asking, like, in the last week here?
Yeah.
No, I didn't speak to him in the last week about any of that kind of stuff. Not his decision. It's coming from above him. But as far as the coach, I thought he was good. Real smart hockey guy, high hockey IQ, so it's kind of somebody you could talk to that sees the game in a sense that a player would see it from. When we're watching video together, for example, he may see something, when you're watching the game just as a fan or just as a, in the moment, you see something, you're like, what the hell? But then if you watch back and you could kind of explain to him what you were thinking maybe, he was pretty on the ball, being able to understand where your head was at and stuff. So I thought he had a good hockey mind. Enjoyed kind of going over that kind of stuff with him and giving him my perspective on the way I seen the game. I see it a little bit differently, I think, than some guys do, and I have a different opinion on the way it should be played. But he was good all year.
I mean, there were portions of the season where it felt like the power play was starting to get on track. A couple games here and there. How would you assess this kind of where that went this year?
I thought the power play stunk for a little while. And then I thought there was times where it was real good and we couldn't score. Then there was times where it was average and we were scoring. I'd say inconsistent would be the biggest thing, but you also ton of different units, different guys that were on it as far as when guys were out, and then guys that were playing better, then all of a sudden they're on it. Chemistry-wise, consistency-wise, I don't think we ever really got into something specific, where it was just like you watch these teams around the league, like Washington's been the same unit for 10 years. Now, obviously, they have the best goal scorer of all time on the unit, but it's like just, an example, when you need chemistry, you need to play together. So you need 5 guys that are together for at least a few weeks, you would say, just to start getting something going. We probably, maybe the 5 of us didn't deserve that at the time, and I understood what Torch was doing, trying to, given if guys were playing well, they were going to go on it as a reward. If guys weren't playing well, they were going to come off of it. And we kind of just never really found a groove, maybe the last 2 weeks before the last 5 games. But we started getting a little bit of a groove. But just overall, just not. I'd say chemistry might have been the biggest issue, and that just is what it is when you're in this kind of position with a team.
Sonny, you weren't the only veteran scratch this year. You also weren't the only guy to say there wasn't that much communication between you and the coaching staff as to why or moving forward. Was there some camaraderie among you guys who went through that? And did you guys talk it out at all about how to handle it?
No, hopefully not everybody's been scratched. I've been scratched enough in my career that it's a coach's decision, and sure, we all talk. We all talk like you guys would assume and give our opinions to each other and stuff, but not about that. We're not going to, the coach makes his decision, and it is what it is. I would say 99% of the time a guy's going to disagree when he gets scratched. So is he going to come out and say it to him? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I'm more along the lines of a person that probably will. Maybe that's my problem. But no, you got to respect the coach's decision no matter where you're at. It is what it is. We're getting paid to play, not to coach. So if you're scratched, you're scratched. and you just try to get yourself back in. Unfortunately, for myself, I wasn't able to get back in, so that sucks. Missing the last 5 games is brutal for me because you don't get to compete, play. Watching the game last night, loved to play with Bronner, one final game. We became real close as buddies, so I would like to be in there with him, and who knows, maybe could have helped him get that 200th point. I still think the NHL greased him out of that first one. I don't know what you guys seen. Maybe he got a stick on there. I don't think they knew. They probably don't know he's at 199, but just that kind of stuff you get to miss. So, but no, we don't sit and gossip that much about that. It is what it is.
Tony, you mentioned that you want to be in Philadelphia. It's been your dream since you were a kid to be a Flyer. You also mentioned that relationship with the coach, you're not necessarily going to let that stop you from still wanting to be a Flyer. But is it hard for you to stay in a place if maybe there isn't a strong relationship with the head coach?
No, I mean, like I said, I got to play, and I got to play better. So I'm pretty accountable on myself. I feel like, did I have a good year offensively? Probably. I was probably pretty, in my opinion, I was pretty good with the puck. And did I have the points that I probably think I should have had? No. Lower year than I would have expected even in the 70 games, but there was other stuff that I didn't do as well. I didn't think I was great defensively all the time. There's some games where I was real good. Early in the year I thought I was really good defensively, then kind of dipped, and as the points weren't coming, it was all over the place. Too inconsistent. I thought it was very frustrating for myself to be that inconsistent this year, especially after the year I had last year, and where I thought I was very consistent. So that's not his fault. I can't blame Torch for that, me being inconsistent, him not being happy about it. That's stuff that I take responsibility for, and I was pissed about. So it was a disappointing year for me in that sense. I thought I did a lot of good things with the puck. Without the puck, average at best. Some games really good, some games terrible. And that's when you're getting paid $5 million, to me, you really can't let that happen. And I take a lot of pride in being worth what I'm getting paid. People think that guys get paid and they don't really care. Maybe that's the truth for some guys, not for me. I think it's I carry more, and especially being a Flyer as well. So that bothered me. But yeah, having said all that, that would make me want to come back even more. I don't care who the coach is. I want to come back, and this is where I want to be. I want it to be a Flyer forever. And as far as what's going to happen, I can't tell you what's going to happen. Even if I'm back next year, if I'm back after that year, I can't tell you what's going to happen. But as long as I'm wanted here, I'll be here.
You were paired with Provorov in training camp, and the feeling seemed to be they wanted that to be a steady pairing throughout the year. Why didn't that work out?
That's another one for the big boss there.
Well, from your perspective.
I thought we were real good together in the first 15. I don't know how many games we played together, maybe 20. I forget exactly what it was. It was switching after that. I thought we were real good together, and I love his game. I like the way he holds on to the puck. Not many guys, I'm sure you guys have noticed over the years, could cut the net like he does and escape away from guys and hold on to the puck. He's real good at possessing it. He's a one-man breakout half the time. Good skater, good defender. I thought we were good. We kind of got in a position where we were getting beat up pretty bad. We had that 10-game losing streak, and we were still together at that time. We were real shorthanded. We were missing, I think, Lottie, TK, and JVR at the time on top of Cam and Coots. So we were beat up. We were kind of beat down offensively there for a bit. And then obviously that's when changes start to happen. When you go through stretches like that, we make the change, and I don't think we ever went back together. Maybe a game, maybe a couple shifts in games when we were down. So, I wouldn't say disappointing because I don't really care who I play with. Anybody you play with is a good player, and you want to make it work with them. But we'd like to play together a little more probably. I don't have an answer as to why or why we didn't get back together, why it did end at the beginning. That's not stuff that really comes up.
Tony, you're going to get two key players back next year, Atkinson and Coots. Do you think this team needs to make a lot of moves in the offseason?
I put my GM hat on.
There you go.
That's up to Danny. I mean, those two guys to me this year, if you have them from the beginning to end healthy, I don't know, we had what did we finish, 75 points? Playoffs was 93? I don't know. You start to creep up there pretty quick, I think, with those two. It's 100-plus points in offense that we didn't have. So I don't know. It's tough to say, we would have had 9 more wins. I have no idea what we would have had. But two really good first-line players on a lot of teams in the league. So when you're getting those guys back, you're replacing, 2 forwards with 2 first-liners. It's a big difference. So I don't know where we would have went with them, but I think that it's almost like 2 free agent signings at this point because they haven't played in so long. So maybe that's the moves they make. I don't know. But to me, getting those 2 guys back in, they play in all situations. You got your top face-off guy, your top center, your power play guy, your top penalty kill guy most likely, and you got your top, maybe your second top scorer as far as goal scoring, it's a big difference. You're looking at 50 goals probably there. So 50 goals that we could have used. So I don't know. Those are two guys that'll be. I'm hoping they get to play with them and be back on a hopefully on a power play with them, whatever the case may be. But huge guys added to the lineup, and I'm sure Frosty, Tip are going to take another step like they already have. You got Tice, that was really good when he played. Probably if it wasn't for the playoffs, would have stayed up. So I've said it to you guys all year. A lot of positives, more positives than people probably think we have coming, and that's what happens when the young guys get to play.
You mentioned kind of some of those young guys there at the end who, as you said, you were watching their career years towards the end of the season. How much can guys like that taking that next step also help you guys maybe not speed up the rebuild a little bit, but maybe not make it take as long?
Yeah, there's a step that they all took, and then there's probably another step for them as well. And I think that you see the skill like a guy like Frosty has. He could probably even take another big step, I would think. And his ice time probably fluctuated throughout the year. I know he was down a little bit, and then he was in and out, whatever the case may be. And then when he started to play consistently, I was just reading something. Maybe one of you guys had it up, actually. I read all this stuff just so you guys know. 41 points in his last 50 games. Is that maybe? Or last 60 games, whatever the case, something like that. You're putting up numbers like that with his skill and playing with good guys and playing on special teams. I think there's another even level for him to get to. You guys see how good Tip was playing. So the important thing for them is, from past experience, I would say, is you get the ice time when your team's in a position that we were in, like you get in 20 minutes a game. You may not get 20 every night now because we're going to have Cam and Coots back and all that kind of stuff. So they got to keep finding ways to produce and play in maybe a little bit less, and still find a way to jump to the next level. Because as a team fills out and you get more depth, not everybody can play 25 minutes a night. But they're really good, them too.
One thing, whatever good or bad happened this year, when he was healthy, Carter Hart was just very consistent this year. What does that mean for the team?
Yeah, it's the most important position. Without him, we might have had some more struggles there this year. He was really good. First 20 games, I mean, we were probably floating a little bit over 500, I would say, or close to it. And he was probably the sole reason we were, there were some games where it was 45 to 20 on shots and we were winning 3-2. Really good goalie. He's good in practice, works hard. He's a crazy preparation. He's a very focused and determined guy. And that's what you need in the net. I think you guys have been waiting for a goalie for a long time, and we got one.
Tony, the organization put a pretty big emphasis this year on the identity of the city and just getting back to what made the Flyers great in the first place. How do you think that developed throughout this year?
Yeah, I think it developed pretty good. I think we were a respected team as far as if you look at our lineup. If you were an opposing team, you don't know how much you want to play the game, if it's a certain score especially. But having guys like, and it's not even all to do with fighting, but having guys like D'Lo in the lineup and what he's done for us this year and the way, you look at the game in Ottawa, I like that a lot, what he did there. Yorkie gets hit when a guy skates probably 140 feet down the ice, and one of our, top young prospects is going to get hit like that at full speed from a big guy, and then that guy, he hit him, but he also knew that something was coming after that. And that kind of builds a good identity for the team, and it protects the young guys. It gives the young guys a little more leeway on how they're going to play the game. Gives them just a little, I'm trying to think of the word, I'm missing it here. But they just feel better about what they could do on the ice. You got D'Lo, you had Seals, you had myself, you had Pepe when Lemieux came in there. And Loss was picking up for JVR a couple nights ago. I love that kind of stuff. JVR's 30-something-year-old guy, and he's bigger than Lotz, and you got Lotz trying to tackle one of the Columbus D for him. So that's the kind of locker room I think we've built, which is really good. And it's needed. It's needed all. You guys will see it, obviously, in the playoffs coming here. That's what's needed. You need a locker room like that, guys, that take care of each other and pick up for each other no matter what. We're 25 points out of the playoffs, and we still got guys doing it. To me, that means something. It may not mean something to everybody, but it does to me. You could kind of throw in the towel with 8 games left as far when it comes to fighting, not your work ethic. But some guys say, am I going to jump in and fight? We had guys getting in there, picking up for everybody no matter what happened, and that's the way to do it.
So assuming you're back next year, Torts is back next year, how do you sort of get, iron out all those inconsistencies in your game the way he wants you to play, so everybody's on the same page?
Yeah, it's not even what he wants as far as Mikey. That's on me. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I'm not going to criticize Torts for pointing out that I made some bad plays offensively. That's not on him. I'm not going to get mad at him for it. That's me. So that's where I need to do a better job. I felt like maybe I was pressing for offense a little bit almost to produce the way I thought I should be producing. And I don't like making excuses. That kind of sounds like an excuse. I just got to be better defensively. I'll put it to you that way, and better overall in a consistent manner. There was times where, beginning of the season, I thought I was playing my best hockey I've ever played in the league. I thought I was playing really, really well, and then it was just from there up and down to some real good spots. So I was like, all right, we're getting it back a little bit here. We're pushing in the right direction, as you know, and then you have a game where it's down. You know, I remember the one game against LA where I thought I had one of my worst career games, and that was right after I thought I was playing pretty good. And then, you know, one or two, and that's really never happened in my career. I felt like I've been consistent for the most part. So that's something I'll fix. So I got a sour taste in my mouth of the way things ended. So to go have a good summer training, get healthy, all that kind of stuff, and then get ready to go again. And I'm pretty confident I'll have a real good year.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for everything. Have a good summer.
You too. Just a number on a stat sheet in a season that doesn't end with playoffs, but what did 30 goals mean to you last night?
Yeah, it was definitely something I'd been aiming at getting at some point. I'd been close in the past, so every summer, ever since I had hit the 24 goal mark, I was trying. That was a goal going into the season. So yeah, unfortunately, how we ended isn't the goal, but to hit that was nice.
Travis, kind of following up on that, in 2019-2020, you had what looked like was going to be your breakout year. The next two seasons didn't go the way you wanted. What do you think was different for you about this one in comparison to those two?
I don't know. I mean, the one I mean, I'm getting a little. I'm not older in the league per se, but I've played a few years now, so I think that kind of plays into it. Just understanding the game a little bit better, working on being in better positions to help the team and score and being in better ice for the most part. And then also just coming in here knowing that, with the new staff, you're going to have to prove yourself. And, maybe, that season, I think AV was brought on that season. So maybe I was proving myself then too. I'm not too sure, but just tried to work hard and put the work in, and it's just paid off.
How much did the relationship that John Tortorella had with you kind of get you to be the player that you were? Risto was in here earlier and he said, Torts gave us the kick in the butt that maybe we didn't realize we needed. Would you kind of fall into that same equation, that maybe he gave you or said things to you that maybe you didn't know you needed to hear that really helped?
Yeah, definitely. You just knew every night you had to work hard, and if you didn't, you were going to be held accountable. And there's something to be said about that. When it doesn't matter who you are, you got to go in and put, whether it's practice or morning skate, he's always paying attention to that stuff. So, but yeah, we had a good relationship, and to be honest, we didn't really talk. We just kind of understood each other, and I knew what he expected from me, and when I wasn't giving that and kind of trending in the wrong direction, I knew that, a conversation was going to come, and then that would be it, and we'd get back on track. So
You weren't the only one to have a career season this year. A lot of the younger guys especially stepped up as this team is kind of moving into that rebuild phase. But how much confidence is there with those guys stepping up that maybe you guys can kind of turn this around a little bit quicker than usual?
Yeah, it's really exciting. And for those guys too, it's so important to have that confidence going into next year. And I don't think a lot of us in here are shocked at the seasons that some of the guys had. It was just a matter of getting an opportunity, and this league's kind of all about having that one person believing you and giving you an opportunity, and it's what you do with it. And these guys, they all got a chance to show their skill and their hockey smarts and what they're capable of doing, and it's really big for us moving forward. And I'm sure they'll all say the same thing.
You mentioned that you guys obviously weren't shocked, really. But was there any one player that maybe you can pick out that you're like, I didn't know he had that extra gear in him that he could do something like that?
There's multiple. You can look at all the young guys really and go through the list of them. The couple that come to mind for me, I know it's not Frosty's first year, but he did a great job at trying to showcase what he's capable of doing. And then Tippy, you guys all saw what Tippy did. He's just there's not a lot of players like Tippy. He kind of has the full package with the skating, the skill, and he thinks the game the right way. So that's really impressive. And then lastly, Casey, he just, you know, it's just really, really impressive what he was able to do. And I mean, I bring him up just last because I played with him and I had an opportunity to play like half my games with him and just see what he can do. And for him to like remind me that much of Coots in his first season is really, really impressive.
I know we talked about this a little bit during the season, but now that we're at the end, looking back at the beginning, how much have you been able to grow as a leader just with the responsibilities you're given and also the kind of open structure in the locker room for guys to step in?
Yeah, I tried to take on a little bit more of a leadership role. I mean, you could probably ask anyone. It's not, for me, it's not so much the in the room stuff. I still joke around and try to keep things fairly light. And I mean, there's other guys that pick up that and, you know, make sure things are running the right way in the locker room. But I'm more, I just try to, you know, work hard every night and kind of lead by example that way. And but in saying that, like, there's so many guys this year that did that, so it was nice to see guys step up and kind of take on that role.
This year you took a significant penalty killing role, really for the first time. How much pride is there for you in being that all-situation player?
Yeah, it's always kind of been a goal of mine. Just because I think the thing for me has always just been like my hockey sense maybe wasn't always there. It's just, you know, I skate fast and I shoot the puck and kind of that's all there was to it. And you know, maybe they're right, but I always thought there was something more. And you know, being able to have the opportunity to play on the penalty kill was definitely nice. And you know, we'll see moving forward where it goes, but I definitely enjoyed it this year. And I think it just kept me in games a little bit more and more engaged. You know, if the game wasn't going well, you can make a difference on the penalty kill and maybe get some positive vibes going on the bench. It's definitely something I enjoyed.
Travis, were there any players that you maybe watched from a PK standpoint that maybe you tried to emulate a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, just around us, you know, I think the one guy that I enjoyed watching last year was Cam, and he was really, really good at, you know, creating offense by, you know, just being in the right spots. He was never cheating, but if there was an opportunity to jump when it's the right time, and I kind of learned that from him, just from watching last year. And you know, I'm sure at times that, you know, I maybe was putting us in some bad spots, so there's definitely things I can still clean up. But yeah, probably watching Cam.
TK, I guess going back to way back in October, there was that game against the Sharks where you got sat down for the final two periods. In a way, was that kind of a turning point, not just in terms of, you know, having that first push-pull with Torts, but also just being able to respond to the adversity of a season for you individually?
Yeah, I think that was a big moment for me and for Torts, because after that we had a discussion and kind of built a relationship after that. And like I said, it wasn't like a whole back and forth communicating every day. It was more kind of right after that, and then we understood each other and kind of got that out of the way. And yeah, I was thinking it was a big moment.
But you mentioned that you didn't talk to Tortorella a time throughout the season, and I think other players have said similar things. How long did it take you to get used to that kind of style where he's not necessarily going to spoon feed you things, but he might want you to come to him with questions or things like that?
Yeah, I mean, every coach has their own style. I think the one thing that you could relate to every coach is if you're not hearing anything, it's probably a good thing. So as long as you're not hearing from them, just kind of keep going about your business and just keep going to work and kind of go, you know, that's kind of all I have for that.
Travis, when Danny was named interim GM, he and the organization were both very clear that this is now a rebuild, and you'd been mentioned as one of the 25 and under guys, not exactly that anymore. I guess, where do you see your role in this rebuild, and what is your focus on helping the organization?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just try to do as much as I can do and as much as I can control. I'll just, whatever opportunity I'm given, I'll just continue to try to, work hard through the summer. Whether that means trying to be around here maybe a couple weeks just to be around young guys, or phone calls, or whatever it may be, but work hard in the summer and then try to set an example at camp, and we'll go from there.
Is it tough for you? You mentioned about how, with Torts, if he's not talking to me, if coach isn't talking to me, I assume it's a good thing because he doesn't have anything to say. Is it tough for you when some of your best friends on the team, Travis Anhon, Kevin Hayes, they didn't necessarily have the same easy relationship with Torts that you had, in terms of, being there for them while also you kind of know in the back of your head that, you have a much better maybe relationship with them than they do?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, I can relate with it though, and I don't want to say that I didn't have my time. Like, I had times too with Torts where, he was not pleased with me, and we had those conversations. I'm not saying I went through the season without, any problems, and I was perfect. Like, I was far from that. And we did have our moments, but, yeah, with other guys, I could relate to, because I, in the past, with other coaches, have had similar things where you just feel like, you're maybe gripping it too tight and things start to spiral and you get frustrated or whatever it may be. I've been there, and, we're all professionals now at this point, and the guys you mentioned anyways, and, they know how to handle themselves. They know. So there isn't a ton of conversation that goes around it. It's just kind of, when you get out of the rink, you try not to talk about hockey, and maybe that's how I could help. When we're in the car, we're just kind of shooting the breeze about other stuff.
Travis, Kevin Hayes kind of hinted that he expects to be traded. How much of a loss would that be to lose Hazy and his veteran leadership?
Yeah, I remember from the first moment I ever spoke to Hazy was the day I signed, and he was one of the first guys that actually texted me. I had never met him before, and he sent me a nice text, and ever since then, Hazy and I had become pretty close. We actually were on the same card table on the plane, so we sit together every single flight, and we got to know each other really well. And the impact he has in the locker room around the guys and stuff, honestly, you guys wouldn't even really know. It's just it's so deep, and every single guy loves Hazy and what he brings to the table, and even his family. That, like, we've all interacted with his family over the years at their house and things like that. So he's really bought into being a great teammate, and now on the ice too, you just see what he brings. So I'm hoping not. I don't have control over any of that stuff, so we'll just see what happens. But at the end of the day, we all love Hazy.
Speaking to another guy that's likely not going to be back as he's a free agent, James Van Riemsdyk has been around this organization for a long time. You've spent a lot of years with him. Just what is kind of he meant to maybe just you personally and to this locker room? Just everything he's been through.
Yeah, Reamer's another one of those guys too, where like I've over the years grown to love Reamer and become close with him, and I think one of the things that he's taught me along with everyone else is how to be a good professional, and he gets it more than anybody. He does all the little things that you have to do to be ready for just a practice, a morning skate, a flight. It doesn't matter. Eating the right things. He's brought that into this organization and showed us all the right way to go about that, and then on top of it, just like showing that you can do all that and still just be an awesome guy, have fun, and put your time into building relationships with people along with being a good professional. So he has shown everyone the perfect balance of that, and again, we all love James.
Bill, go ahead. Excuse me, was Hockey Canada in touch with you about playing in the Worlds?
Yes, and I'm not going to be going.
The focus of the last month or so of the season, I think, for both you and the coaching staff, was to try to build up some positives going into the off season. Do you feel like you succeeded in that area? Did you feel like you were able to turn things around at the end?
I think I had better games for sure. I think you saw more of my style of game, and more skating, more getting up the ice, more
ozone play, creating offense, and it's a big part of my game. I think there was steps from probably when I got scratched. I guess after that point, I guess I went through probably a little bit of struggles after I was scratched, and then I think the last little bit, I think I've played some better hockey.
When we talked to you after you got scratched in Carolina, we talked a little bit about how John Tortorella wanted to see you incorporate a more aggressive kind of defensive mindset, and while also still trying to get to your game offensively. How much, and that it wouldn't necessarily happen overnight, but how much closer do you feel like you got to incorporating that on a consistent basis in the last month of the season?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's still a work in progress. I think Torch knows that. I think, I know that. I know, we're trying to, get through on some of those areas, and I think there was, some better or some more positives in that area, and I don't think it's going to be perfect. I think I just got to be more consistent and try to be a little bit more, aggressive in certain areas, like you said, and like I said too, I'm working on that and going to continue to try to get better in that area.
At the time of the scratch, I know he hadn't talked to you, explained to you, really didn't more than send that text. I guess, did you guys ever have that conversation? How did your relationship evolve from there?
Still haven't figured out why, but that's in the past. I'm over that, and we've moved on, and I think our relationships is just fine. I think we understand each other, and I think he's got a better understanding of my game now, and I got a better understanding of what he expects of me, and hopefully, going into next season, we get a better outcome, and that I can play a little bit more consistent and in those areas, and but like you said, the scratching, I think, obviously hurt me, and probably something that I wasn't expecting, and especially with where it was. I think there's certain games throughout a year, it gets long, and you circle some dates that are meaningful to you, and obviously playing in that building for 3 years and having a lot of great memories there. I think it means a lot to play there, and not getting the chance obviously hurt. And but like I said, I've moved on and gotten over it, and we're on the other side of that.
How's your relationship evolved over the season, Brad Shaw?
Yeah, it's been good. I think right from day one, we've communicated well, and I think same goes with him. I think we're continuing to work together and try to understand each other, and work through some of the issues that I went through this season, and we're going to continue to do that. And he's got a bright mind, and he's got a lot of intel, and I'm looking to learn and get better each and every day, and he's looking to help. So it's been good.
Travis, going back to the season, we spoke, I think, in November, and you had said that your struggles at the start of the year you thought were more because you had maybe a different expectation of the changes you might have to make under Tortorella. Then you got on a good run, you played well, and then your play dipped. Why do you think, it would seem like you had things figured out, why do you think you went through a rough stretch after that?
If I knew, I would have cleaned it up right away. It's hard to say. I mean, guys go through ups and downs, especially when your team's struggling. It's pretty easy to fall out of place. And obviously, I had a good run there. Thought I put some good games together towards the end of the season, and obviously some bad ones in between. So it was an up and down season. Learned a lot mentally, and went through some stuff, and I think I'm going to be better for it, and hopefully I can limit those. I mean, to say next season that I'm going to be perfect and not have a stretch where I'm going to have some bad games, I'd be lying to you. So it's just trying to clean those up, trying to
make them as small as possible. I think one thing that I learned that when I turned the page and started playing better was the day that I said that I was just going to go have fun and enjoy it. I think sometimes when you go through rough stretches mentally and physically, I think you get down and you're not positive, you don't feel very good. You forget that the reason why you love this game and you love coming to the rink. And the day that I went into the rink and said that I'm just going to have fun tonight was the game that I turned the page a little bit and started playing better hockey. So sometimes you got to remind yourself of that. I wish I would have reminded myself that a month sooner, but it is what it is. I learned a lot, and hopefully I'm better for it.
You kind of just answered that, but when you're trying to adjust your game and get back to where you're at, does it get to a point where you can watch too much video, too much overthinking of it?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, you guys know me. I'm a knowledgeable guy. I like to learn a lot of stuff, whether it's around the league, about my teammates, little things like that. So it's pretty easy for me to, when things are going wrong, trying to figure out why. And sometimes you overdo it. You watch too much video, you think now that every part of your game is there's something wrong in every part of your game, and you're trying to fix every area. And reality is, it's never as bad as you think. It's never as good as you think, and sometimes it's you just need to go and play.
Was there any teammate or individual that helped you, remind you that, hey, go out, have fun, just be yourself?
I mean, TK's reminding me that every day, whether it's good or bad. On the bench, he's trying to hype me up. In the car rides, when things are going rough, he's trying to tell me how good I am, and little things like that. He's trying to pump you up and make you feel good about yourself. It's the same thing that goes for him. When he's been chasing this 30 goals, I've been trying to help him out and tell him not to worry about certain things. And I was happy to see him get it last night. I know it meant a lot to him, and he's been a big part of this group this year.
The stretch was also the same day he got injured. Do you think that kind of hurt not having him around to hype you up as much?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a weird coincidence, but I know I was up in the press box, and the minute he got hurt, I ran down to the locker room. So, we have a close relationship, and it's been good.
Last year, I know it was really important to James to turn over the mantle of NHL PA rep to you. I guess, what have you learned from your time with him, and now that he's moving on, I guess, where do you feel in your role as a leader?
Yeah, still working on it, still learning from veteran guys. I think Bronner did a great job as well. Learned a lot from him, but I think from James, he just has so much knowledge. He's learning every day. He knows so much more than any guy on our team when it comes to that PA stuff and the league. And so I just trying to pick his brain a little bit while he's been around here, and I've learned a lot from him. He helps me out whenever I need him, and not only that, I mean, just everyday hockey. He's such a pro. The way he treats his body and takes care of himself, I wish I was like that. He does such a great job of it, and he's helped out so many guys along the way.
In talking about kind of some of the positives from this season, Cam York obviously had a tough start, got sent down, but when he came back up, he's probably been one of the most consistent players on the back end. What have you seen from him this season, and how kind of much do you think he'll be able to help you guys moving forward?
Yeah, obviously he's a great player. I think I said when he got sent down at the start of the season that it was going to be he was going to come back better than ever, and it was kind of similar to when I got sent down. In the sense that you go down, you play a lot of minutes, you're the guy down there, and then you come up, you have a ton of confidence, and you saw that right away from the first game he played in Vegas. The confidence that he had and believing in himself and the abilities, and obviously he's a big part of this team moving forward, and I thought he took a big step this year.
Maybe looking at your season, kind of your first full crack at the NHL, how would you evaluate how you did?
Yeah, it was all right.
just trying to go out there and learn as much as I can and come back next year and bring in what I learned and continue to learn and push forward and just get some more confidence and the belief that I belong here and just keep working at it.
What were some of the things you learned about just the grind of the season?
Yeah, this isn't college. You know, you're not playing 35 games out there. You're playing a lot more. And just kind of where you cannot, I guess, overextend yourself and just learn to take care of the body and how much time and effort it takes to make sure you're fresh every day.
How much did you hear the words go north to south from?
Every day. Every single day. But it makes sense. Like, I get what he's talking about, and I get where he's coming from, and if that's what's going to help the team, then that's how I play. You know, that's fine with me.
Did you feel like there was a point where that started to actually sink in and be background noise and just instinct and not something you had to like think about as much?
Yeah, for sure, right? I mean, when you hear it all the time, every day, you get used to it, right? So it's just kind of changed the way I play and in certain areas what I'm looking to do with the puck and just be smart with it and make sure that I'm taking care of it, not giving it away.
Wade, we talked to Torts a few weeks ago, probably read about it or heard about it, where when every time we asked about it, he basically said that you're always hurt. I don't know, did you hear that? Was that frustrating? I know you've had a struggle with injuries in the past.
Yeah, I mean, it's whatever. That's fine. I mean, I'm doing my best to be healthy. I can't control injuries. I'm doing my best to stay healthy, and it's whatever.
And kind of going off that a little bit, how important, though, was it for you to play? You know, I think it was, 60 games this year, to stay as healthy as you could just to show that you can be a part of this?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to play 22 more games, right? I'd like to play all 82, but we'll try again next year, right? I mean, 60 games is a step in the right direction. I learned a lot about my body this year where I can't push it and just overextend in certain areas and stuff like that. So, yeah, I look forward to it. I'll play more games next year, too.
You also, talked about just where the medical staff was and the changes they made, trying to build some trust between the players and the staff, having worked with them this season. I guess, where do you feel like that trust is at, and what did you learn from working with them closely this year?
Yeah, I got a lot of trust in them. You know, we got some really smart people here that know what they're doing and who are on our side and want to take care of us and make sure that we're at our best. So, yeah, I have lots of trust in them.
How much were the veteran guys on the team, the JVRs, the Lawtons, how much help were they to you in getting through some of the ups and downs of the year?
Yeah, I mean, those guys are very important, right? They've been through it. They know what it's like. So, you know, when you get in a situation where you think, you know, you're on your own, they're like, hey, I've been there. Here are the things that worked for me. You know, these are the things that didn't. And obviously it's different for each person, right? But to have somebody who's been there, who knows what's going on, who can relate to it, you know, that always helps.
When we spoke with John Tortorella about like a month ago or so, I think he talked a little bit about, for you to become an effective player at this level, it's not just necessarily you learning how to pick your spots, but also understanding, he called it like the angling of the game. He said that Rocky has worked with you quite a bit on that. I guess what have been the messages from Rocky regarding just knowing kind of how to take the right angles, and how much do you feel like you've grown in that regard?
Yeah, it's like I said, it's where you can and cannot overextend yourself, and where certain players do certain things to bait you in to do something else to you, right? They already know, they're just waiting for you to take that step in the wrong direction, and then they send it over there, right? So it's just learning what other players, I guess, are trying to do to you so that you can avoid that, and then, you know, stay in the middle of the ice and take care of business.
Wade, where were you trained this all season?
Probably Toronto.
Okay.
How are you feeling physically going to the off season? And you're just gonna be able to work out. You're not gonna have to worry about rehabbing or fixing anything. It's just focusing on getting better, getting stronger.
Yeah, I mean, that's always a nice feeling, right? I'm hurting pretty good right now. I got a lot of minor things bother me, but we'll take the next couple weeks here and heal up from those, and then go spend some time with my family, and then get back to training.
We talked, obviously, over the last few minutes a lot about, you know, what Torts has expected of you and whatnot. He did say at the end of the year that, you know, he loves the progression, you know, the changes that you've made, that you've been willing to make, and how you've pretty much done everything he's asked you to do. I guess, where do you feel like the relationship is between player and coach in that regard, and ending the season?
Player coach. I mean, he's the coach, right? So I'm the player. So it's what he says goes. You know, obviously I have less leeway than players that have been in the league for a long time that are really elite players. But obviously I can't get away from what makes me successful. But I also have to make sure that I fit within the system and do the right things so we can succeed as a team, right? I can't be out there hurting the team, trying to do something that I think might be better, right? At the end of the day, it's what works for us as a team. And so if there's things that I need to fix, he doesn't hesitate to tell me, and then we work together to fix it. And so I really enjoyed this year. I like him a lot as a coach. He's very demanding. And yeah, I had a great time. I think we can work together and we can hopefully make something special here.
There might be some frontline openings next year. Do you aspire to be a top 6 forward eventually?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to play 25 minutes a night and score 50 goals, but we'll see. We will see.